Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados right here on Thinking Critical YouTube. I hope everyone is ready for the holiday season. Christmas is basically here. The next time we talk, it'll be Christmas Eve morning, and we got a lot of fun stuff going on. Lots of stuff happening within DC Comics, more like DC films and stuff like that. But we've also got big Star Wars news and lots of fun to be had. And I do want to give a special shout out to Eric O'Sullivan, who says he should be shooting content for the week, but he looks and sounds like Doc, so he's going to wait till supper. Doc, that means he looks and sounds like shit.
Yes, exactly.
As long as you acknowledge it.
All right.
So we do hope Eric feels better. He'll be here for next week's Christmas video on screen. It'll be a lot of fun. Who else? We got Sil Abdul, the big scooper for the DC. What is it? Just DC Universe now. The DC movie stuff. How you doing, Sil?
I'm doing good, man. I'm becoming a little infamous, so getting used to that. Leaking.
You're
stuff,
infamous
so.
now.
Infamous.
Who doesn't like you?
Oh, it's social media. Someone's gonna not like you, so it's all good.
Comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you got a stalker. That means you achieved something. If you haven't had a stalker yet, you haven't done anything right on YouTube.
Yeah, stalkers, all kinds of stuff, man. Yeah, it's getting interesting.
This is what Steve Hanako says. Good morning, panel. Who wins the superhero movie write-off, Taika Waititi or Patty Jenkins? We've only got one man on the panel that I believe has written a movie. Josh, is your audio okay yet?
Yeah, we should be good now. Are we good
All
now?
right, who wins the write-off, Taika Waititi or Patty Jenkins?
I would rather Patty Jenkins write a movie than Taika Waititi, but because at least she tries to put a superhero tone in there. Taika is just going to be like a 4-year-old. If he doesn't have someone, controlling him, he's going to be like, "Let's make poop jokes."
But Taika wins because he actually gets his movie made. Patty doesn't.
Well, we say
he's
that
supposed
now.
to do a Star Wars movie that's never going to be made too, right?
No.
Yeah, but he's gotten more of his movies made than she has.
Let's see where Taika is in 15 years.
Josh, we know that Hemsworth said he doesn't ever want to work with Taika again. He said no more mad genius directors and writers.
I don't blame him. I mean,
they
ruined Thor.
Absolutely. Lade Kraber says, suggestion for worst of the week thumbnail, Gabe's reaction to suggestions of T. Franklin writing Justice League from last week's stream. Would be the best image. Gabe did look thoroughly revolted by that suggestion. Is that infamous? Maybe it is infamous. Thank you for the suggestion, Lade Kraber. I'll take it under advisement. Who else have we got here? We got Carrie from Nerdy Girl Creates, the manga expert herself. How you doing, Carrie?
I'm doing good. How is everybody?
I'm doing excellent. You ready for Christmas?
Maybe.
Doesn't sound like it.
No.
My goodness. You waited to the last minute. Now you're going to be trampled when you go and try to find toys at the store.
Oh, no. that area I'm good.
Who else we got here? We got Jim from Weird Science Comics. How you doing, Jim?
Oh, lovely. Thanks for having me on, Wes.
Did you get a rest?
Well, I did. Earlier this week, I ended up getting a slight case of carbon monoxide poisoning. So I did get a rest.
Why are you in the basement recording?
Well, I'm in the basement, yes, while I was recording. Actually, during a podcast. And we had a problem with our furnace. Wow. They came, checked the levels, and told me I better go to the emergency room. And so I ended up sitting in the hospital for 2 hours, breathing in straight oxygen. So it was fun. I think I actually might have, gotten a little smarter from it. That's what they tell me. But I think that might be the opposite. So if I end up saying anything crazy, I'll blame it on that.
My goodness. So you almost died this week. That would have been bad timing.
Yeah, I guess. It might have been. I would have missed the show. But, that'd be about the bad timing of
it would have been. What sucks is like, I got to rebook this? This fucking Jim guy.
Oh, my, this guy. What the hell? It would have been fun.
I fucked up the whole schedule.
Yeah, really. That's why I survived. It was the show that made me keep going.
Well, I appreciate that, buddy.
Yes.
Well,
we've also got.
Just keep in mind. Just keep in mind, if you die and fuck up Wes's schedule, he will bring you back just to kill you himself.
That is true. And I realized something was wrong. I thought suddenly that Megan Fitzmartin was a good writer, and that's why I ran emergency room.
Oh, so you had a stroke. That's what
everything happened.
Oh my good. Common Sense says, I read DC's Big Bang. That's the Dark Crisis Big Bang comic. There's no Earth for Justice League, gods and monsters, and their heroes. The shelves equal. Can you or Perch get Bruce Timm or Alan Burnett? I could approach either one, but I wouldn't anticipate them give me a yes on that one. But I could always reach out to them. As far as this Big Bang, if people don't know, there's like I guess they remapped out the DC multiverses in that comic book, and some things exist and some things maybe don't exist anymore. Josh,
look, I hate to be this person.
Can you hear? Can you make yourself?
I can't. Like right now, I can't. I felt like I did good because I read Batman Spawn #1 this week. But no, the comics they suck so bad. I mean, look, there are some good things out there. But overall, generally speaking, comics suck so bad that anytime they've got a big initiative right now, I don't care. Because it's not going to last. Give it 6 months to a year, they're going to be changing it again.
And even that, I mean, just common sense. There's 8 trillion worlds now. They'll just add it on when they need to add it on. It doesn't matter. Like Josh just said, it really doesn't matter.
And for context, like I want to remind people that I am someone that spent years paying money to review comics.
Mm-hmm.
So very nice. Wakazashi's Tea House live from Japan here says, why is Zeb Wells writing a completely different Spidey story in his already fragmented ASM run? Did we slip into another dimension? Hail to the panel. Doc, can you answer that? Because he starts all these stories out in Spider-Man, but now apparently they've been slipped into Dark Web, and then there's just random stuff happening in Spider-Man now.
Well, I could probably answer that question, except for I stopped reading comics.
Jesus
comics.
Christ,
So
you're not
I
really a good
haven't played
panel member if you're not reading the comics, Doc.
I'm not reading new comics.
Goodness.
You've known this for like 3 months.
That doesn't make it any better. You're still supposed to be a contributor. You know what I mean?
I can contribute.
You're the Marvel
but
guy.
Look, do you want to know why it's whether or not that's happening? I have no idea. But you know what? You want to know why? It's because his editors tell him to. That's it. Zeb Wells.
Jim, is that the truth? You've read the damn things.
I agree with Doc. I also agree it has to be
He's
a thing that Marvel does anyway. Well, Doc's always right. And I mean, it's the same with Jason Aaron's Avengers for so long. I mean, he didn't know what to do with it. He was bouncing all around. It's just that with Spider-Man, it's just ridiculous. There's so little issues out there right now of this new run, and all of them, you don't even know what Spider-Man or what you're going to get when you read it, and it's bad. It's getting worse. That's the problem.
I'm waiting on Wes to call Doc and I into his office because his Marvel guy's like, fuck comics, and his DC guy's like, yeah, I'm gonna nope out of this. And now he's like, that's a fucking comics channel. What are you doing?
It's a lot of work reading that comic book, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, Wes, if it helps, I can.
Yes,
pass the helmet. Absolutely, pass the helmet to Doc.
Or we could just sail the high seas. And I don't even want to do that. It feels like it
is work. I'll give you that. There's not a lot of satisfaction out of it. Cal Lyle says, your boy Zach reviewed Nubia and the Justice League. It's page after page of validation, and he said it's written by liberals who are scared of black people. I believe that. What do you think, Jim? You probably read this thing. I actually was going to do a video and decided I didn't want to pain myself with it.
Yeah, it was bull crap. I mean, here's the thing. They say that Nubia in her own book, like it's supposed to be her, but it's basically her saying how great the Justice League is while they're saying how great she is. And Black Canary, I don't even understand what that Black Canary is doing in there. She is fangirling the whole time, giggling and pointing and blushing, and it was just.
Did you see her booty? It shook.
Yeah, it did. It was. Just,
that's a line.
I think that.
No, I'm making it up.
I think that what Zach doesn't quite get is that Nubia and the Justice League have been horrible the whole time. It's not just that one issue. It's the whole time. Every bit of Wonder Woman right now is a monstrosity over at DC right now.
Absolutely. We got a review of Wonder Woman 794 coming on Monday with Doc.
Yeah.
TY says it's sad about Henry Cavill, but a hard reboot is needed. Absolutely. We're going to get into that probably in the second hour. We definitely got a lot to talk about when it comes to the changes with the DCU and Henry Cavill coming forward. Kenneth Dowling says, hello, gang. I'm off work today, so I'm happy to be watching with the hot plate of buttery pancakes and syrup having fun.
Pancakes.
You think he's dribbling the syrup on himself?
I hope so.
That's what I want to see. This is a good thing. Try to get Kenneth on the show to see what's going on with that syrup.
Yeah.
Sticky.
I'm glad you could make it this weekend. I hope you're enjoying the holidays, my friend. Common Sense says, or get Simu Liu. He said God and Monster sequel was canceled because of other projects. All right, like Killing Joke movie is so important in the backlash.
I feel like I'm missing context.
I am
I feel
too.
like him too.
I'm betting
Gods
it's
and monsters.
I'm betting it's that Simu Liu is a nobody and hasn't sold a single fucking ticket or put a single ass in a seat. So guess what? In recession world, you have to be able to put asses in seats, and Simu Liu doesn't. So
Well,
yeah,
it certainly makes headlines.
his movie's fucking canceled.
Not surprised on that one. Cal Lyle says, the one good thing about cutting the Snyderverse is Fatal J can finally shut up about it.
Yes,
I agree with you
Look,
wholeheartedly.
I
That is
thought
the best
Fatal
thing.
J. Yeah, I thought Fatal J was going to be on this morning, so I was preparing, and then he wasn't. I saw
Oh,
Seal
shit,
and I
what
was
was
like,
I thinking?
"Hey!"
My bad. Ideator says manga is still an alternative. There's a large variety available for different tastes. Things won't change when people will continue to purchase them. People aren't.
It's not an
purchasing them. That's the
alternative.
big problem. It is an
It
alternative, Doc. A lot of
It is
people have
not.
given up American comics for manga.
it is not.
It's just because you're too I don't know, simple to be able to read the right to left doesn't make everyone else that way.
It has nothing to do with that, and has everything to do with the fact that it does not provide the exact
Do you like X-Men?
Similar-
Go read My Hero Academia and tell me it's not the exact same thing.
It's not about just liking one brand. It's the same thing. It does not create a comprehensive, interconnected universe, and until they
It does
fucking
because
do,
Within
there's
each
spin-off
book.
books of My Hero Academia,
spin-offs
including one
aren't-
that is essentially Spider-Man and the Punisher.
spin-off books are not a
They're
comprehensive.
connected.
No,
They're connected.
that's like saying Invincible was a interconnected universe because it had 3 spin-off titles over the course of its 144 issues. It's not. Preacher
It
wasn't
is.
either.
Pretty
Preacher had
popular.
multiple
Jesus.
Preacher had multiple spin-offs, and guess what? It's not an interconnected universe. It's
I
just
could
one
hand the
line with
world
some
on a
spin-offs.
flat to Doc, and he would still be upset about
I mean, Doc
Yeah.
isn't even reading any of these that he's
I know.
it. You got the time, man.
It doesn't do the same thing, and until you
The app
understand,
is only $2 a month, Doc.
I don't give a fuck. It could be. They could pay me $2 a month, and I'm still not reading it.
Well, there you go. Sorry, Ideator. Everyone else is on board, but Doc is he's a hard nut to crack.
Doc's that Simpsons meme, old man angry at cloud.
Yeah, he's just shaking.
Yeah.
Sully says this is a public service announcement. Check out Perch's brand new interview with Sean Gordon Murphy. It's great and insightful for all of us comics aficionados. Hello, everyone on the panel and chat. Absolutely go and support Perch. He's a great guy. Sean Gordon Murphy is an absolute brilliant artist and writer. So definitely check that video out, and hopefully we'll get Perch back here on the channel somewhat soon. Maybe we'll see if he'll want to join us for Christmas. Although I imagine he's going to have plans. I think he's a family man. So, did anyone get to watch that interview yet?
I have not,
No.
but I love when he gets to have time with Sean, because Sean's already kind of been pushed out of the industry enough by certain people that he's not afraid to be candid, and Perch and Sean are close enough that they'll have pretty candid conversations between the two of themselves. So it should be pretty good.
Definitely check that one out. Darth Bobcat says, Cavill deserved better, but good riddance to Snyder and all of his false works. 10 years for this aborted continuity is enough second chances. Very well
That's because
said.
it never really got started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
never
shame
really-
and all that. Yeah, he never
Yeah.
really got a like prime Superman movie. That's the injustice.
100%.
He got a mediocre Hyperion movie though.
There you go. That's all he needed. Common Sense says, have you guys literally forgotten about the Killing Joke 2016 animated movie? That's what I'm referring to. It got backlash. Simu Liu directed. is the
Oh,
director of
Sam.
these movies.
Oh,
Sam Liu.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. I have read that incorrectly, sir.
I did too twice.
Me too.
well, I saw
Well, no, I
you read it
didn't
wrong.
feel about
I just went with it.
Yeah, I
I'm
did
like,
too.
oh,
Killing
I
Joke
thought they were making a joke.
well, he's
They added a
wrong,
bunch of
okay.
stuff to it that kind of messed up the story.
Yeah.
I feel like
Common,
this
I'm
should have
sorry.
came first.
Cal and Lyle and common sense keep me on my toes. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's what they like doing.
Sometimes I don't catch the reference.
Yeah. So there you go. Our bad. Thank you for clarifying that one. We got Cal and Lyle. Doc, if you're not willing to try new things, then you have no reason to complain or be miserable at all. Sorry, but it had to be said.
It's not about not trying new things. It's about giving me something that is comparable to what I'm lost.
It's about continuing to be miserable when you don't have to be, Doc. That's
nothing gives me something comparable to what I've lost. I don't give a shit about other things. Sorry. It'd be the equivalent. I like fucking cars too. And guess what? If we switch to all electric cars, I'm going to have no interest in that either, because you can't do the same shit you can with a fucking engine car.
Sir, we don't need to know what you do with your cars in your bedroom. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I thought he meant the movie.
Sir, this is a McDonald's drive-thru.
It is a McDonald's drive-thru.
Yes,
Kenneth Dowling says, Wes, no, I'm not playing with the syrup, but that argument you had with Doc was sweet. I try to get through to him. People think I'm a good friend of Doc. I want him to be happy. I want him to discover manga and realize that there's good superhero storytelling available to him for the low prices of $2 a month, but he won't see the light, Kenneth. I don't know what's wrong with him.
New books,
it's like Callum said, he wants to be miserable.
I feel like we need to take Wes's rant.
You deserve to be happy, Doc.
Also,
I want you to know that you deserve this.
Here,
we need some like Sarah McLachlan music in the background right now.
If you really want to know what my biggest issue with it is, the same thing as Tolkien. It's the same thing as all the fantasy shit. I don't remember their fucking names because they're stupid names that don't make any sense.
You can
Spider-Man,
man.
Oh my goodness!
I don't. It's not fucking high school. I'm not taking notes on what I'm reading. I can't remember their names because they're gibberish names. I'm not going to remember them.
That is the Japanese language, my friend.
It's
How dare you?
It's gibberish.
Hey,
Doc's fighting this is becoming less and less comprehensible over time.
Yeah, it really
now
is.
it's the names. It's not the stories.
It has a lot to do with that, but I can't enjoy a story if I don't remember who anybody's fucking name is because they have gibberish names.
Doc's working his day job, and some guy from Japan comes over that's part of the company for a meeting.
I'm calling him
like, that's
Jim.
a gibberish name.
Doc
I'm
gave
calling
up
you into the sun.
Doc
I'm
gave
gonna
up
call
baseball
him-
the minute Ichiro
Why are you
came in.
speaking gibberish to me? He's like, I just introduced myself.
That's a gibberish name.
What did you call me?
And you know what? I'm going to call him Hey Guy or Bob. There.
TY says, first time in a decade, I'm excited for DC movies. Well, we have to see what the slate's going to be. We know the James Gunn Superman movie is going to come out, but I imagine once the Flashpoint movie comes, the Flash, we'll get it sounds like we're going to get the lineup in January, right, Sil?
Yeah, James Gunn, they have the slate complete. Supposedly he's going to start, putting information out next month. So I will say the Superman film, I think they want to, as far as early talk, it may want to aim for 2025, but we'll see. We'll see what that.
Yeah, should be a good reset, and it's going to incorporate animation. It's going to incorporate, obviously, video games as well as streaming. So it should be very connected. We'll see what happens. Dark Bobcat, Doc is an autosexual. Does he like Asian cars?
Actually, I'm not.
You drive a Toyota, don't you?
No, I prefer Euros.
Like a Yugo?
No, like Audi, Porsche, Volkswagen, and Mercedes. BMW. Only if you
like a Vauxhall.
Only if you figure out how to drive like a complete asshole. That's a prerequisite to drive a BMW. So
I feel like you could drive a BMW, Doc.
Yeah, no, I don't drive like an asshole. I'm just an asshole. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I don't drive.
You just talk like one. My driving's fine.
Yeah, I'm actually a very considerate driver. I just people driving BMWs are assholes. And no, Ferrari is fun, but everything on it costs increments of $1,000. Oil changes are way too expensive because you got to pull the motor.
We got you. Chris the Bliss says, Doc, stop Asian hate now. Right here in the PI.
I was going to use that joke too, but yeah, they beat me to it.
You should have, Sil. You should have just gone for it.
Go for it.
Al Lyle says, don't turn into Tom King or be arrogant, but what do I know? You are becoming the Tom King of thinking critical now that I think about it, Doc. Callum's got a point here.
Oh my God.
Just takes one bad day. Just one bad
I
day.
don't have mommy issues, so no, I'm perfectly fine.
That's what people with mommy issues would say, Doc.
Yeah, Doc's got X-Men issues. It's the same thing as mommy issues. Man, Callum Lyle with the zinger. I like that one. Good job, buddy. Doc deserved to be roasted. Goblin says, respond for Nubia when modern writers discovered older characters. They use characters project virtue signal themselves like Alyssa Wong, misrepresented Iron Fist, Wu Shi to make Li Lin Gary Stu. Lin Lee was cool as the Swordmaster. I don't even know why they did that, but I don't know, Jim. They're reruining a lot of good characters with really bad writers.
Yeah, I think it's more of just bad writing. I think it's bad writing and people have forgotten how to tell a story. But like Lin Lee is a cool character. And I don't know, the idea of a Swordmaster combined with Iron Fist sounds neat, but it just didn't play out well. And it really shit on everything else before it. So that seems to be the MO.
Yeah, it seems to be the MO for Marvel and DC these days. Callum Lyles decided to take a glasses hat full approach with Doc. On a positive note, Doc, which horror movie would you compare with the X-Men Office to if it was written by slow bus people?
It Follows. Because
the one about the STD.
Yeah, the one that was about an STD. Everybody that touches it.
The ghost STD.
The ghost STD that just eats you eventually. Because you just keep having to infect everyone else with it.
A little supernatural chlamydia. That kind of makes sense for the X-Men Office.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. Well done, Callum. I way to bring it back and make Doc look like a good guy here at the end. Let's get to our first topic. We've got Superman Son of Kal-El finished at issue number 18 this week. Tom Taylor's Superman run has to be considered an enormous failure. Worldwide exposure. They did get a bump as far as sales when it came to the first issue when Jon Kent came out of the closet. But after that, the sales steadily declined. And it was really the writing that never got better, Jim. Never got better.
No, and the pacing of the whole book was just off the whole time. But that's a Tom Taylor thing. He doesn't quite get his story out there before his books are canceled. And it happened with his Suicide Squad book, which was, pretty good. But at the end, he has to rush to get things out. And it ended up being a shame because I think some of the hype of it ended up taking some of the hype away that should have been on Action Comics as well with the War World story. So overall, I thought it was a disappointment.
I'm muted here.
No, my goodness gracious. I thought that I blew your mind or something.
Door, and he won't stop barking.
I was about to say, someone's dog's going to pee on their crap in a second because they're pissed.
All right, Josh, obviously they wanted the sales bump. They wanted the worldwide recognition, but I don't think they wanted the series to fail so fast.
Oh, no, absolutely not. They had so much media. It's one of those things where they had so much media attention because of what they were doing with Jon that I don't want to even say it's a shame because I didn't like what they were doing with Jon, but I guess what happened speaks volumes of where we are in the comic industry. They had perfect opportunity to take full advantage of this and deliver sales, and they failed miserably because they couldn't deliver a story and a good story. And now they're trying to push it off as like, oh no, it didn't fail. We're not canceled. It's coming back as, we're shifting into this title instead because it's a legacy title. Like it's all bullshit. It's all PR. And it's them trying to save as much face as possible, but they dropped the ball, and that's what it comes down to. And they had an opportunity to try to do something and didn't.
Yeah, they had the eyes on the book and didn't do anything with it. And I see people in the comments talking about how great Nightwing is. It's one of those things, though. Nothing goes on in the book. The pacing of this is so. And just to point out, like this Red Sin that ends this deal of this Jon Kent book like that's just thrown in at the end because he doesn't do anything with these characters because he's too busy just giving you the book of, hey, this character's the greatest thing ever. And he can't get out of his own way at that point. And that's what Nightwing has been. So it's an easy book to like if you like Nightwing, because it's always just going to tell you every month, Nightwing's great. But if you're there for a story, there's not much story. When Tom Taylor's runs are done, you realize, wait a minute, I didn't really get much. It's like empty calories every month. And it ends up, it gets to you. If you are reading a ton of books or, love a character, it's just, he has to do more storytelling instead of just character, highlighting is what he ends up doing. And I think it really played out in that Jon Kent book.
And you had an obvious setup too, narratively. Like Superman's going off world. He tells Jon he needs him to take over the planet. Jon's young. He's still a teenager. So you already have a character arc here, and Jon trying to accept this role, feeling literally the weight of the world since he's trying to protect the world. And you could have a coming of age story of Jon, which they kind of did, but they'd had a coming of age story of Jon discovering that he's bisexual/gay. That didn't work. No. But you could have had a coming of age story of Jon discovering himself as a hero. And you really could have played into the aspect that Jon is equal parts of his parents. He's equally as much of his dad as he is his mom. And if they would have leaned into that and had a good villain for him and actually run with it, and if you wanted to do the gay plot, do it as a B or C plot in the background, this probably could have been an excellent book. They didn't do that.
No, and it felt surface level. And a lot of times it felt like Jon was just there to remind us why he's better than his dad. I mean, even before Clark went off, Kal went off to Warworld, Jon was giving him crap about not doing enough, for social issues. And how do you do this? And then he was gone. Superman was gone. And now he just was Superman, and he was the greatest thing ever. And that's kind of how things have been rolling. And people are going to clap back at stuff when you just force it down their throat. It would have been a great progression. And just the idea of combining, the coming out story with becoming a superhero, Superman, those two could combine so well together, of the struggles of what you do to be something, that you're not, what I mean? Like just figuring out yourself, and you could have really played it off well. And,
I didn't even care about the character, right? Because I was a little more casual with some of these titles. So it's like they didn't even sell Jon Kent, to get me, like he should have had like a unique power or some ability.
Exactly.
Something.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been just some, sexuality thing.
And even then, Tom Taylor went overboard, saying to people and fighting with him, Jon Kent is not going to punch anybody. He's not going to fight anybody. And
that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that's just crazy. So what you end up doing
returns,
everything's boring. It's crazy.
I'm just confused about the whole Jon shoving things down our throats. I mean, he is Superman, and well, hey, it would really cement his full villain turn. But it's Tom Taylor.
I didn't read the books, and I read that interview when he was going on about Tom Taylor was going on about what makes Jon great, and he says, and all the issues, he's only punched a guy once, and I'm like. So what's he been doing all this time?
Some people need to be punched. I have a couple in my house. I want to punch right now.
Lex Luthor in chess.
Yeah.
This does not sound like a superhero story. He punches a guy once, and that's
it wasn't a superhero
restraint.
story. It was a coming of age sexuality story.
They only punched someone once. See.
What do you think? So the rumors out there because. James Gunn's going to be doing a younger Superman. Do you think Jon Kent is the younger Superman?
Well, I don't think
it wouldn't be that
Jon
stupid,
Kent.
would they?
I don't think.
No.
Well, I'll just say this: James Gunn.
Old.
I were hearing whispers about there's going to be some diversity in this 10-year plan. James Gunn is going to try to get some of this stuff in there, so we'll see. We'll see.
DC Comics has a diverse lineup of heroes. It wouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah. James Gunn's gonna. I'm talking about it may be some race, bending, gender bending. Like
James Gunn out so well for the MCU so far.
Yeah, we'll see.
I suspect we're gonna get a traditional Superman, Wonder Woman, and then you'll have Batman off to the side, which I have thoughts and comments on about when we get into that subject. But
I guess I'll say that too. Yeah.
It seems like the race bending that they're going to do in terms of Superman, from what I'm gathering, is coming more of the Lex Luthor route. So we'll see.
Yeah, he
There'll
doesn't
be
have any
some.
defining physical
I'll say that.
characteristics.
Oh, absolutely, there will be some.
They, so they're gonna. I don't really give a shit. Never mind.
Well, wait till it happens first, Doc, then rant. All right.
There's no reason to do that. That's why you got a YouTube channel. You talk about things before they happen. Little speculation never hurt anybody. I don't know. What do you think, Doc? Do you think they learned their lesson on this one?
Fuck no. None of these people ever learn their lesson. If there is one superpower that every single person in the entertainment industry it has, it's lack of self-reflection. The ability to completely be incapable, which is borderline superpower because it's built into our DNA to be at least slightly self-reflective.
You're supposed to learn from stuff. That's why you don't die
exactly. That's why we're not extinct.
Yes.
To learn from mistakes, learn from errors. These people have managed to completely, I guess you'd say, eliminate their evolutionary imperatives. So good job. I mean, that's got to be some power. So yeah, the ability to not look at yourself, not recognize your own mistakes, be completely incapable of it. Yeah. So do I think that they're going to look back in the mirror and say, oops, we screwed up? Fuck no.
There won't be an oops, I did it again moment.
No. Unless they're just, doing another Britney cover.
I miss Britney, man. She was great. She can't even do new pictures on her Instagram anymore because of her kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, right?
She's ruined the fun for everybody.
So yeah, they'll sit there and be like fucking that Principal Skinner meme. Am I out of touch? No, it's the kids. No, it's the readers. They're out of touch. No, they're not going to reflect. They're not going to recognize that they did something stupid. They're just going to do more and more and more and more and more of it until they completely burn down their IPs. And it doesn't matter how much water the parent companies throw on it to try to put out the fire in terms of money and support. They're going to just keep, trying to put out fires with more matches. Good job, I guess.
I don't know, Josh. So what do you think the legacy is of Superman, son of Kal El? Are people going to remember this is like a starting point of Jon Kent becoming a mainstream star? Is this going to be remembered as something that was a huge mistake for DC?
I mean, I think it's going to depend heavily on where they go with it. If they manage to course correct the character within the next 5 years, you might have a fonder history of him when you look back. But as of right now, it's just going to be he doesn't have the best legacy right now. People went from absolutely loving the character to he had the mud smacked on him when Bendis aged him up for no reason. Now they've turned him bisexual and they're pushing that agenda and pretty much nothing else. So it's just like two strikes back to back. So I think that's what the legacy is going to be, is that they had a great, wonderful character and they completely botched it.
It's kind of crazy because they don't have a lot of modern characters that they've tried to introduce that are actually somewhat popular and can sell. Now, Super Sons wasn't the best-selling comic in the world, but it was like at 25,000, 30,000, and they would kill for numbers like that on a legacy character that was introduced in the last decade.
They're still fans.
And they kind of ruined it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and not only that, they're getting 25,000, 30,000 sales with a character that was a child. You typically don't see children characters sell at all.
Now, you mentioned if they course correct over the next 5 years, what do you think course correcting is? What could they actually do to the character to get him back right to where people are excited for Jon Kent to be Superboy or Superman?
They've got to scale back on how much storytelling they're putting into his relationships, romantic relationships, and they have to make his heroics and that plot the main plot. And if they can do that, they might start changing some of people's opinions. Do I think they're going to do that? No.
Of course they're not.
I don't see. Here's the thing. I don't think they can do that because what happens when you scale back on the relationships and focus on the superheroics. All you have is not Clark Kent.
Yeah. That's right.
And
If they're gonna do it, put him on a Titans book. Put him on a group book.
A
and then
team
you-
up,
Yeah, he's
right?
gonna be on the
Yeah.
Titans.
Yeah.
he needs to be on Legion
Yeah.
in an entire different
Either.
century as his old man. Otherwise,
That is
he's
They
just,
already did that with Bendis, and that
Good
did not
point.
work.
I understand that, but they
That's where he
need to,
belongs.
it's the only place that can possibly. They have three options to make him to fix it. Either this one is a villain, turn him into a villain, put him in a different century, or de-age him. Those are the only three things that will actually have a work. Everything else is band-aids on an artery that's severed.
It's crazy because the reason that I love Jon Kent, and I think a lot of people were really into that series, was yes, he was coming into his own as a superhero, but it was the relationship with Clark, being a little kid and learning how to be Superman, and kind of getting that fatherly advice from that perspective that really made the character stand out. Like he was kind of innocent and stuff like that, and they kind of ripped everything that was really cool about him away.
Yeah, you mentioned the innocence, and I think that's one of the things too that was so endearing to the book is John's innocence, because you tend to not see a lot of innocence, especially these days in comics. Comic writers with heroes now are so aggressively writing, what makes these people flawed, what makes these real people, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I enjoy it if you have a good writer doing it, but it was so refreshing to see a character that was so pure and so innocent. That you wanted to love him, you wanted to root for him, and then they peed on that and shit.
Yeah. That's why the dynamic with Damian worked so well, because he was such a little shit.
He was.
Yeah. And they both made each other better. I mean, they both learned from each other and both kind of, went with it. But it was a great dynamic between those.
Damian could get him in trouble, and then John can try and do the right thing and see if they can get out of it.
Yeah.
Probably the best Damian was too. Yeah, in that book.
Yeah.
The best version of Damian. Yeah.
And like Doc said, you had an opportunity to make a villain out of him when he came back. I mean, he was stranded in a volcano, being tortured for years and being ridiculed. He could have come back a little bit angry, but they kind of skirted that issue as well. And
they're going to tackle it now.
Yeah, they are.
The Action Comics 2050. Ultraman's going to go around killing Superman from all the multiverses.
Exactly. Yeah, which not to sound nerdy, but Death Metal ended with Ultraman dying, and Earth 3 was reset, and it's not the same Ultraman. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but that's just comics. I know, but it is wacky.
So because these people are completely incapable of self-reflection, and because activists and leftists never believe they've ever done anything wrong, they merely believe that they haven't been allowed to do enough of it yet.
It hasn't been done right yet.
Yeah, well, because they haven't been allowed to do enough of it. So what they're going to do is they're going to do even more than what they already failed at getting John over. That storyline with Ultraman coming through the multiverse to kill. Yeah, they're going to kill Clark. Clark will be dead, and so that you only. If you want to read Superman, you don't have a fucking choice. Read John.
I don't think
He's Superman. That's what they're going to do. I'm sorry,
bro.
I'm sorry, but that's what they're going to do.
I feel
these people are obscenely predictable.
They are. And to go with the idea, what's weird is DC won't come out and apologize for what happened with John, but yet coming up, they are having this Ultraman story, right? So that shows something. People complain we didn't see that. They're going to retroactively show that. And in Action Comics coming up, they're going back. Dan Jurgens is writing his Lois and Clark deal with young John and raising him. So they're
that's what we want.
Deal, and they're canceling the Son of Kal. They're pretty much admitting that it was a failure without admitting it was a failure by trying to give you what everybody wanted. It just doesn't work that way. You have to come out and kind of apologize at this point, and they'll never do that.
Yeah, do they have to though?
They're going to try to placate everyone. And when somebody says, we had that. Hey, we had this. And it's just not the same though. But yeah, they don't have to, but it just is a shame. They seem you can't say they ruined the character because you never really got the character. That's the biggest problem. You never got to love John as much as we might have because we never watched him grow up. And so
that's a shame. We were robbed of that, right? Hopefully we get that now with Jurgens, like you said, though, but we were robbed.
Well, they're trying to replace him with these two alien Warworld kids that they're adopting, right? You get that dynamic back, the twins.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, you'll get the young John from those.
Yeah, John.
You'll force everyone to accept John as real Superman by killing Clark. And they'll give you a Clark story with it set in the past with Lois raising little John. That is what they're going to do. Because if you want to read her, because look, if these people were any more predictable, I'll start betting on them tomorrow.
Now
I'm gonna win.
Got to be everything to everyone, apparently.
I think you're right. That's some bullshit.
Superman should go the route of Batman when they claimed at one point that he ended up dyeing Jason Todd's hair to make him look more like Dick Grayson. He should just end up calling that one kid John and just go with it. Hey, John. He's like, that's not my name, and it is now. And just go with it.
Doc, if you're gonna start making Doc, if you're gonna start making bets, if you go to make the bet on them killing Superman, don't expect them to do it this soon. We have to remember how stupid they are. They're gonna try to kill Superman soon and be like, no, we can't do that. And then they're gonna wait till like 2025 when the Superman movie's coming out and be like, we're killing Superman.
Yeah, because they still need to copy Marvel's homework even on that. Like, hey, hey,
you know, we got a movie.
Adam. We got a movie coming out that's super popular with all these super popular characters. Let's kill them.
Well, they just had a Super Sons cartoon.
Yeah, with no Super Sons.
With no Super Sons is it lame? I didn't watch it yet.
No, I mean no Super Sons comic.
Oh yeah,
comic. Yeah.
This is gonna be a backup story in Action Comics. Apparently, that's where it's gonna be.
People are.
We have heard from the peoples, Doc. Let's hear about some of these super chats. This is what Ryan Wilson had to say. Can we give Tom Taylor, James Tynion, and Chip Zdarsky a copy of Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics books so they can stop writing their dumb socialist politics? Thomas Sowell's pretty smart, Doc. You think he would get through to him?
No, because you can't look, expecting retarded people to understand through logic is
here we go.
Probably not Japanese the most effective thing. It doesn't really work. Look, these are people that function on feeling.
Yeah.
They
that part right there is what I would have cut out when I edited a regular doc.
Yes.
The feeling part's good.
They function completely on feeling. And you know what? You can't logic your way out of people that feel bad.
You know, and also this politics and the social, stuff there's not enough space for it a lot of times. So when they do it, it's surface level stuff where they're just throwing out a problem and there's not a solution because you don't have time for a solution and you're writing superhero comics. So eventually it just ends up being, statements.
18 issues of a superhero not punching anybody.
Exactly. Or I mean, even Chip Zdarsky and the Daredevil book, which I love, he just keeps going in with the woes of incarceration. Well, what are you going to do about it then?
Daredevil killed that guy. He should have been in prison.
Yeah, I know. And now it's just everybody's like, I understand this. And you just have to get over that and get moving because you're not going to be able to solve that in a comic book anyway, even with these heroes. So tell a good story.
You know what? Gabe Hernandez, friend of the channel, he figured it out perfectly where they're going with this. He can't wait for the new Jon Kent series where he explores his romantic feelings for an Australian comic book writer he met online.
You missed one earlier where he says he's waiting for the new story where he shares his romantic feelings for someone that looks like Doc.
That makes sense.
That would require that pussy fucking Australian bitch to know what the fuck I look like.
I mean, look,
they already figured out for the boys.
We've already kind of compared it to the pirate at the beginning of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, you looks like a ZZ Top wannabe. Yeah. He knows what you look like. Oh, God. Ideator says Mark S. Miller from Comicsgate and Mark Brooks were flirting with each other over their disdain for EVS. That baby will look like nightmare fuel. I'll have to take your word for it. I try to stay out of all that stuff and just keep to myself these days. It's just easier that way. Yeah, you see this, Doc? Are they flirting?
Not a clue. I got my real account back, so I'm still blocked by Ethan. Because I was for like 4 years ago. So, I have no fucking clue what these people are talking about. And I'm perfectly happy to stay that way.
Yeah, apparently the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing going on. Mark Brooks is, he's a bitch. Let's be honest.
Yeah. You know
what?
He was a lot better whenever he was still an interior artist.
He's just a wet comic book cover artist. Nobody even knows who he is. Fedor Saku says Jeff Johns, best writer in history. Payne will agree. No, I do not agree.
I don't say history.
I like him.
He's the best writer of his era.
But he has a lot of good runs. I think James Gunn, just early rumor, he may have Jeff Johns come do some writing for a Green Lantern project. Obviously not an exec level. Jeff Johns is not that, but he's a good writer. You can't take that away from Jeff Johns. He's done some good stuff.
Yeah, I think the reason.
Alan Moore's probably a better writer. Frank Miller's probably a better writer.
Yeah. I think Jeff Johns gets a lot of praise because he understands the characters and respects the characters. And writers don't do that today, so he gets a lot of clout for it. And I like
kind of old school.
Yep,
like that. Yeah. I like that about him.
I can think of 3 dozen writers off the top of my head that are better than Jeff Johns.
Chris Claremont.
3 dozen, Dot?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I never thought
history.
Yeah,
I'll say
I have never. I mean, Jeff Johns is a perfectly adequate writer. He's Brian Bendis if Bendis didn't fall off. They're the same fucking writer. They were.
He's better.
Well, he didn't fall off I didn't read that JSA one yet. They were saying in the chat. I gotta catch up on that too. Jeff Johns JSA.
It's fine if you're looking for the JSA heroes that you love. I'm sorry, you're not going to get that.
No,
you're not getting that. Okay.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Jim?
I just said it. We may get them eventually, but yeah, right now when that starts, but overall, Jeff Johns not the best writer in history. I do like
best writer of his generation. I'll give him that. He's got a body of work that is very impressive. Kenneth Dowling says, "I'm not reading this comic, Son of Kal El, so I'll just contribute to the channel." Well, thank you very much. Don't worry, we'll talk about something that'll get you more excited to talk about what we're doing here. But we're finished with the Son of Kal stuff as soon as we get to these super chats. Common Sense says John should apologize to his dad for when he returns in issue 16, as John realizes how hard it was to be Superman from the journey Cotter Kent and has telekinesis. That would have been an interesting thing to do, Josh, where he's like, holy crap, I never realized how much responsibility you had.
I agree.
You're back.
That's kind of what I was alluding to is give him the story arc where he discovers, what the weight of the world is actually like,
That would have been a great moment.
Yeah, because, as much as I hated the line that they had in Son of Kal El 2, typically I'll give writers the benefit of the doubt.
That would be character progression.
Yeah, you'll get this lesson.
You didn't really get it.
And I knew it wasn't going to happen. That's why I was like, this pisses me off so bad. Get good.
Yeah, I was waiting for when Cal came back for John to say, Dad, I really have something important to tell you. While you were gone, something happened. I'm so much better than you. Get out of here. Because that's what happened.
Look, the earth was safer while you were away, old man.
Yeah, I really have something. I don't know if you heard this, but it's I'm just better than you.
Yeah.
You can leave, please.
And that's what the name of the title should be: Superman, better than you.
Yes.
Yeah,
better than my dad.
It's stupid feminist writing trope. It's not that you have to go on a hero's journey. The world has to go on a journey to find out that the hero was already perfect. That's Superman, what it is.
Better than Kal El.
That's the journey.
That is the journey. Look at every every YA book. It's everyone realizing that the woman that's the star of it was already perfect.
Yeah,
that's it. The world
realized
on a
somebody
journey.
read Twilight, Doc. I'm glad to hear that.
The world has to catch up.
Yes, not plain Jane. She's the most attractive person in the world. The guy wants to eat her from day one.
Yes, I'll take your fucking word for it.
Come on, Doc. Kyle Lyle says Tom Taylor accomplished nothing, and if he believes in the stuff he writes about, then what the fuck is he doing writing superheroes other than to group?
Real quick, I am a fan of Tom Taylor.
I am too.
But I know a lot of people don't like him. I understand.
I like to see.
I think he's a hack.
He's got good stuff in his resume,
Yeah.
but he's got a lot of fails too.
Lately,
Specifically, anything in that's ongoing in continuity seems to
he
not
lost
do
me with
well.
the Nightwing because usually I stick with Tom Taylor's stories, but like
I'm with
I
you.
dozed off in the Nightwing. Yeah,
He's
he
playing
did.
it safe now too. It's weird.
yeah, too safe.
Callum also
like-
says, I would give John the Deku treatment. Doc, that is a character from My Hero Academia. Remember the name Deku?
Nope.
He starts and
Already
trains at
forgot it.
Teen Titans, meets a girl, his friendships with Damian grows, and let's see what happens. There you go. It could be the Deku treatment. Very nice. Tevye Smoka, why not pull a Wally West but with Jon Kent? Kill him? Get him away for a decade?
I was about to say.
You could have him just disappear in some way and then have him, set aside for a little and then bring him back any way you want.
I don't know if I can handle another moment like Wally and Barry hugging.
And
he's like, I thought you forgot about me forever.
That was a good moment, right?
Oh, hell yeah. That was a good moment.
I will
My
admit,
knees were shaking. I was like,
I
oh my
actually
God.
shed a tear.
The rebirth, right? Yeah. That was some good stuff right there.
It was great.
Yeah, it was good. That was a
Got
good
the feels,
moment.
man. Yeah.
Cal Vile says, the things and these people that don't want Superman, they want Homelander. And I love Homelander, but as a character, but these people are everything Doc said.
But Homelander's still much more interesting.
Homelander is relevant to the modern times for its modern audience, right?
Yeah. Well, Zack Snyder tried to give you Homelander. Y'all didn't like it. So I'm just saying, make up your mind out there.
Kenneth says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus the Thundercats. Now, this is difficult. There are more than 4 Thundercats out there.
Yeah.
You throw the Thundercats in there, we're talking maybe about a 10-on-4 battle. We've certainly seen the TMNT take on the numbers game, certainly with the Foot Soldier or the Foot Clan, but I don't know. You got Panthero on there going nunchucks on these guys. I don't think Mikey can stand up to him, Jim.
These are
It'd
ninjas.
be tough. Yeah, I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I want to say it just because I love them that they would win. I don't know. I think the Thundercats.
The original incarnation, they're willing to kill people more than Thundercats. Maybe.
Yeah. It'd be
Can't
tough.
the Ninja Turtles take on more than one person at one time? I'm just saying.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, but the Thundercats are actual
Thundercats
cats.
The
They're
Thundercats
stronger than people.
I gotta go with the Thundercats on this.
Thundercats will rip them apart, but I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Y'all convinced me. I tried. Y'all convinced me.
Thundercats are significantly more
Thundercats,
skilled.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, they're
They're significantly more skilled than the Foot Clan, so they'll shred them.
That's fun.
Well, here is one little hiccup. Are the because we know the scale at which the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are, because there's humans to compare them to. What if the Thundercats were really, really tiny?
Really tiny.
like the size of a mouse.
Yeah, exactly. Now
give it the TMNT, but if you assume that there's a size relativity,
but we don't have humans in Thundercats to have a
like Voltron, we have the human characters.
Oh,
exactly.
Shout out to Gabe in the chat. No Leonardo slander. I would not accept that. Leonardo's my favorite.
That is true.
Well, Leonardo got his butt handed to him by Shredder, who's not superpowered and is not as strong as a cat, like the Thundercats all are. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, y'all convinced me. Yeah, Thundercats are curb stomping. Yeah, these turtles, but no Leonardo slander.
Assuming that they are proportioned, approximately the same. Then I'd say the Thundercats rip them apart. Plus, the Thundercats have a lot more vehicles, so they could go just running them over.
Well, the Turtles got their own blimp, Doc. They could use the aerial surprise. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
The Turtles will make it interesting, but I think Thundercats will take them out.
Splinter might be the X factor because we've seen Splinter take down, Shredder pretty easily in a 1-on-1 battle.
Yeah.
As long as we're talking
Wild
about
card.
Splinter's getting eaten.
Splinter's
bring in Bebop and Rocksteady. Can we?
Because
Bebop
and Rocksteady are approximately proportionally the same size as a Thundercat, and the Turtles have trouble with those two.
I'm just saying,
from time to time.
Play, for the universe, for their universe, they may put up a fight.
I think the Thundercats all day.
Gabe. I'm with Gabe. Are we talking OG Thundercats or that CalArc crap?
No, OG Thundercats.
I'm thinking OG. Yeah, the real Thundercats.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go, Kenneth.
The one that actually had toys.
Yes.
Well, we try to make it work for you, buddy. I think Thundercats
all about the
get them.
toys, Doc.
Chris the Bliss from right here, the PI. Their postmodernism and their stupid ambassador complex bores my mind. It's just annoying. I'm referring to Zdarsky, Tynan, and Taylor.
I hate putting Zdarsky in there. I really like Chip Zdarsky a lot still.
I like Chip Zdarsky, the writer, but I disdain. I don't like.
I avoid him. Any other way. Yeah, exactly. He just wants to joke
like
around
because
like a tool.
He's still Canadian.
The Tom Green of fucking comics.
Yes. Canadian style.
he
Take that.
he is 1,000 times worse comedian than Tom Green. He is quite possibly the most criminally unfunny person. He should probably go to jail for how unfunny he is.
Could be a felony. There we
It
go.
should
Daniel Beatty.
That is deep.
What happened to the days of God loves, man kills? Tell a good story. Jeff Johns' Darkest Night would make a good big bad in DC movies.
Hey,
I would love to see Blackest
James-
Night
James
as the
Gunn may do that.
culmination of Phase 1, because that would be amazing. That would be a great
Yeah.
movie. So many good things
I'm
going
hearing
on there.
Jeff Johns' name is popping around. I think James Gunn's gonna, kind of get some ideas out there for the films and TV. So
But yeah, Blackest Night would be absolutely
Blackest
amazing.
Night would
That's
be great.
probably the best. Is that the last great comic book event we've had? I think it is.
Yeah,
man,
it's really good.
that's
And I'll go
probably
with
right.
Daniel. For some reason, this week, even I keep calling it Darkest Night. For some reason, I don't know why. Me and
it's
him are
Blackest
down.
Night.
Yeah.
Blackest Night.
Yeah. Darth Bobcat says Doc should appreciate Mount Lady from My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, he
There's
would.
another name, Doc. Mount Lady.
I
That's
already
easy to
forgot it.
remember.
She likes to put her butt in the scene.
Boom.
Like it.
Okay.
We got H.H. Jervin from Sigma Comics. Shout out to Wes and the best comic book experts from Big Apple Comic Con. Wishing all of you a very happy and healthy holidays, and don't forget to hit the like button. Absolutely. I think we're almost at 100 likes at this point. Thank you so much for everyone for that. And big shout out to HH and the guys from Sigma Comics in their hometown con. He is a New York guy. So if you're at Big Apple Comic Con, definitely go stop by there, and he's probably going to sell you on some comic books. Good guy, good friend of the channel, and congratulations on all the success, my friend. Bador Saku
Awesome.
says Bullseye versus Bane. Who you got? Bane.
Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bane.
He's
Bullseye.
juiced up,
He
man.
kills him- Bullseye.
And he's a
kills him from-
genius.
Bullseye. He kills him from like 300 yards.
Bane would see it coming because he's really smart, Doc.
Yeah, I mean, he's juiced up, man.
Yeah.
Bane's
And this
winning.
isn't a sniper contest. This is a fight.
Right, this
Know what I'm
is just a straight up fight. Yeah.
I mean,
Bane's
Bullseye is elusive, and he could probably bounce off some buildings and stuff like that. But I give it to
It
Bane.
won't last long.
He's not fucking
Bane.
speedball. He can.
I mean, he'll rip him in half, basically.
He just hits him from a distance.
He beat Batman, Doc.
Now,
Yeah,
it
in a
was a
straight-
tired Batman, but still, yeah, he
It
did
was
beat
an
that.
exhausted Batman that had just run the gauntlet of all of his other villains,
Yes.
and then
Are you trying to take away Bane's accomplishment, Doc?
Yes.
He broke Batman here.
He broke
that's,
his back,
you know,
and he broke
Yeah.
his mentally,
his
physically.
will, his spirit, then his back, right? So I'm just saying, Bane, that's an easy fight, I think. I really do.
I think so
Bane
too.
wins easy.
Yeah.
There we go. Wraith X7. Does no one remember the awesome 2011 anime Thundercat series? Everyone remembers that one. That was great. If you like the
That's
Thundercats
romantic.
cartoon, you need to watch that.
that was the best
So, like-
series.
Still like the OG,
The OG series was kind of really cheesy. If you actually
Mm.
watch it, it got a great intro.
Because it's from the
90s.
80s, Doc,
I-
when
I
everything was
understand
cheesy.
that. But even GI Joe, even its cheesiest parts, they still had better story.
There you go. But no, that 2011 anime Thundercats is absolutely amazing. Kenneth Alex says, Doc, someone did scale the turtles to a human. Captain America or Deathstroke. The turtles are super soldiers physically. 80s nerdy
Yeah.
girl. Add the female turtle and even the numbers. I got TMT.
No. I said we've scaled the turtles to humans.
Yeah, I meant
We
the
we
Thundercats.
haven't scaled the Thundercats to humans. That's the problem. We don't know how big they are. They live on another
80
fucking
feet
planet.
tall.
Yeah, they could be 80 feet tall. They could be 8 inches tall. We have no idea.
But if they're the same size, I don't think that. Oh gosh, what's the name of the female turtle? She was
Jenica,
Leela DeMilo.
Venus de Milo.
Venus de Milo. I don't think Venus de Milo does dick for that fight. I think she gets taken out by the Thunder Kids.
I think she gets
What's his
she
name?
gets shredded by Chitara in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah.
Listen, if Leonardo was as strong as Captain America, he wouldn't have gotten his ass handed to him by Shredder.
Man, this is
In
Leonardo
one-on-one
slander,
competition.
man. I'm getting
That's not-
emotional about this.
Leonardo was a great.
I know he lost, man. I know, man.
He didn't just lose; he almost died. Like he lost pretty big on that one. Didn't they burn down their building or no? Maybe
he had to level up. That's all. He had to level up after that. That's all.
Yeah. Wayne Tech Ted says Bane takes Bullseye to Suplex City. Absolutely.
Yeah. Easily, bro.
He's gonna break him in half.
That's it. If they do
put him in a cage.
If they ever do another Bane in a movie, have fucking Brock Lesnar play him.
That would work. He's got the physique.
That's why I'm excited for this new DCU. I know you're gonna touch on this later, but like just to see, I want to see all these characters, man. I want Gunn to do all this stuff.
I wouldn't buy Brock Lesnar being from Central America or South America. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, well, Tom Hardy wasn't either, but I think James Gunn probably has an actor in mind for Bane.
Oh, I think he has this all plotted out. Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be Namor, isn't it?
Cal Miles says there's a superpowered and demonic Shredder, but I won't talk about that Rise version because you all hate me for liking that show and movie.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Lane Kramer battle. Oh my goodness, what are we going here? Battle SSJ4 Gogeta versus Cronin from DC Comics.
What?
I think it's Gogeta.
Now we're getting crazy.
Gogeta?
Isn't it Gogeta from Super Saiyan?
Gogeta?
What is SSJ? Am I mixing stuff up?
I was too. I'm like,
all right, Gogeta versus
fucking
Cronin.
gibberish.
Stop, Doc. Gogeta versus Cronin. Who you got, Josh?
Fuck, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who these.
I thought it was Dragon Ball.
Oh,
yeah,
Ball?
I was thinking Dragon Ball too, but I don't know if it is or not.
Okay.
Everyone's saying Super Saiyan. Look, if it's a Super Saiyan, I'm going Gogeta. Like, why not?
You got to go to Super Saiyan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's like not fair.
Wrong audience, Lane Kramer. My goodness. Dragon Ball. Rate X7. There were humans on the third Earth in the OG Thundercats cartoon. The Thundercats are the same size as normal humans.
Oh, okay.
But we said we're gonna scale everyone same size anyway, so
Yeah. So yeah, the
just solidifies it.
Yeah, it just guarantees the win.
Exactly. True.
Wakazashi's Tea House. Did you see Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn? Mamma mia.
That was fake.
No.
Yeah, it was a fake
AI.
picture. But I am looking forward to Lady Gaga. I want to see something different in this crazy Todd Phillips Joker world, right? Joaquin Phoenix looks like just ghastly, physically. So I just want to get a good story. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. Common Sense. Miyamoto Usagi versus Samurai Jack.
Leave me out of this shit. I don't know who any of these fucking people are.
I like Samurai Jack.
You uncultured swine, Doc. That's what
Yes,
you are.
I
What do
am.
you think, Carrie? Since you actually know what the hell's going on here, Doc's completely clueless.
Maybe it's my bias, but I like Samurai Jack.
There we go. Samurai
That's one
Jack
thing
for
I
the
know,
win.
And that, yeah, so I go Samurai Jack.
I know who Samurai Jack is, so him.
There you go.
Eric O'Sullivan, Bane versus Bullseye. It's the Red Viper versus the Mountain in Game of Thrones all over again with pretty much the same result. Well, the Mountain won. He killed it. There you go.
Bane
Good
wins.
call. Kenneth Dowling on Fedor Saku. Not being mean, just kidding. But Wes, I got to call you and Josh out. You guys chose Bane over Bullseye because he's stronger than you guys, like non-powered heroes. Consistency, man.
No. I also chose Bane because Bane took out a number of Court of the Owls before the Court of the Owls became shit. And the Court of the Owls are known for fighting from a distance. And he took out like dozens of them.
Good point.
He barely did it, but he did it. So, Bane.
And he beat Batman. I'm sorry. You beat Batman, you win.
Be Batman.
Bullseye
the
takes
Trump
out his
card.
Venom tube from like 50 yards and waits until
Didn't
he
Felicia Hardy beat Bullseye once? Get out of here with that shit.
probably. I don't know. Everybody beats everybody eventually.
Yeah, it just depends on who's writing and what book they're
Hard.
writing.
Squirrel Girl beat Galactus. We don't
I
believe
thought
this.
she
Shit.
beat Thanos.
Who knows? I don't fucking care.
Who beat Thanos? It was
Squirrel.
Warlock, right?
I think she beat Galactus too.
Well, that would make sense. No, this is my goodness. Just start thinking about stuff like that. Doc Midnight will give you hot drinks.
That is true.
I have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
My Hero Academia.
Okay. Cool.
I was just hoping it as a typo, and he actually meant Midnighter. We'll give you.
Yeah,
Well, that might do.
Midnighter actually kind
They
of
both
right.
have
I
like
don't know.
an S&M type of vibe to them, so you can kind of go with it, really.
I can see. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to say that, Doc. You give people bad images in their heads about gag balls. Never mind.
Ball gags.
Gag ball
Let's
Z.
move it out of here. Let's talk about Star Wars. It appears that Kathleen Kennedy is turned in and signed her severance package. She'll be leaving Star Wars Lucasfilm in 2023. We've been hearing this rumor for a very long time. I've been seeing this rumor come off and on for like 2-3 years at this point, but I think it's actually happening this time. We appear to be getting it from multiple sources over the past 3 weeks. Syl Abdul, you're more of a comic book guy, but me personally, I'm a Star Wars guy through and through. That was my first love, and I cannot wait to see this lady expelled from Lucasfilm.
Yeah, it's been the writing's been on the wall, Wes. Right, these rumors been off and on, but it got really strong this last few months. The reports are circling that she's done after Indy 5. Then the backlash of Indy 5 is another thing too. So I think this is finally it for Kathleen Kennedy. It's finally happening.
Jim, it's about time.
Yeah. And I'm usually not a guy with movies and stuff to, check out the behind the scenes things and whatnot, but it was such a train wreck. And Star Wars, like you said, Wes, it's one of the most important things, in my life, in a pop culture deal. And Indiana Jones, another thing. And it just ended up, I never thought that I would end up not liking Star Wars. And I'm at the point now where I dislike more than I like. And that kills me because it was very important to me growing up. I mean, even weird stuff. I ended up moving when some of the movies were coming out. And that's how I made friends at my new, house deal with Star Wars, because everybody loved it. And it was such a fun thing. And then they ripped it apart. They really did. And I saw Last Jedi in the theater, and that's the last thing that,
It's the worst movie experience of your life?
It was. It actually was. And it killed me because afterwards I thought, boy, nobody's going to like this. And then I ended up seeing people fighting over how great it was. And whether or not it's a great movie, it was never even a good Star Wars movie. It was an awful Star Wars movie, and it just killed me. And I was done. I still haven't
used to watch
seen
Collider every single day, Jim.
Yeah.
I would watch their movie show, their Star Wars show. I'd watch at least one program daily, sometimes multiples, if they had the Schmodown or whatever.
Yep.
I went in there after seeing that movie. I watched their spoiler review. 5 minutes in, I never went back to their channel again. I was like, there's no way you can get 4 or 5 people that watch this movie and have all of them say that it was good.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
It's ridiculous. And then that's when I realized, like, what's happening? These people, either there were people who showed up, and people showed up and they were like, they took that as their Star Wars because they were kind of like, well, you old people, like you're said, this is our Star Wars. So
you don't like women.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what it was.
Toxic
That was so
nostalgia was thrown
embarrassing.
out there and just all that stuff. But it's not toxic nostalgia when my kids that aren't that old, they have the same feelings for the Star Wars original trilogy, at least, than I did back when I saw them originally. I mean, it's a timeless thing. You can't have toxic nostalgia with something that's made so timelessly. And it just ruined it. And the whole deal with Kathleen Kennedy, like everything that came after it, it's tainted by everything else. It's just nonsense. And then,
well, I mean, when we find out the background story about what Iger said, they had those story drafts that he threw out from George Lucas. Like they had a trilogy that they could have done, and they threw it out. And then Kathleen Kennedy said, they were just going movie to movie for the episode 7, 8, 9. I was done. I was like, Star Wars is dead, right? And they had no plan. It was ridiculous.
And like you said, Wes, the idea, the movie was bad, but I've seen bad movies. I've walked out of a couple of bad movies, but that movie is like, it was a kick in the balls. It ended up like really like, hey, here's what you love. We're gonna shit on it and make you sit there and take it. And
they just bastardized like Mark Hamill. Like it was, if I'm Mark Hamill, and thankfully he said he disagreed the whole time, but he's like, I'm gonna perform because y'all give me a nice check. But I was like, my God, you're killing in my face. You're killing my hero every scene he's in. It's ridiculous. That film was ridiculous. I never watched that again.
It's crazy, Jim, because I've got 3 boys, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, once at Disney, bought Star Wars, and they were going to do like the Jedi Academy at Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was daydreaming about going to Disney World with my one son at the time. And obviously, I've had two after that. And I was like, we're going to go through Jedi training. It's going to be amazing. You couldn't pay me to go to that now. I don't want anything to do with it. Yeah,
and my kids, they were into, I said, the original trilogy. They even liked, the prequels enough. That, kind of got me mad. But the idea of all that, we went and saw the news. They don't want anything to do with Star Wars now. I even tried to tell them you should watch The Mandalorian. They're just not interested. They don't care because they ended up watching a boring ass movie. And we're done with it. And it just sucks.
Unreal.
The worst movie experience I had was going to see The Revenant, but The Last Jedi
masterpiece, Doc.
That is a piece of shit.
It's a true story. The guy really was attacked by a bear.
I don't give
his
a
gun
fuck.
Was stolen.
I don't care.
Tracked him down.
I don't care.
Leonardo ate a raw buffalo liver. Just for that film. He's a vegan, Doc.
For the culture.
It was a terrible, terrible movie, but it was only marginally worse than The Last Jedi.
Worse?
Yes, it was worse than The Last
Jedi.
No, The Revenant was fucking
Doc
terrible.
taking over for Jimmy with the bad
it was the worst. That is the worst film I've ever seen.
Paid off, Doc.
And so it was pretty close to that level bad, marginally above Ex Machina, but also fucking terrible. No, they're still terrible movies.
I love Ex Machina. It's a great film.
It's a fucking terrible movie.
That was some fighting words for you right there.
But so
Doc is like trying to see if it can get
but here
canceled today.
here's the deal with Kathleen Kennedy leaving. Is she's just gonna get replaced by somebody worse, somebody that's even shittier and has less care for the fucking Star Wars brand than she does, because at least she could say she was there before.
Mm-hmm.
She was there under George. She had something to do with it back then. Granted, she was probably getting his fucking coffee, but she was still there and in the room and had at least a little bit of care for the company. Now, she was obviously completely clueless as to what any of it actually meant. But she was still there. They're going to end up with some 28-year-old fucking internet blogger running that goddamn division, and it's going to be atrocious. You think it's bad now? Wait until they replace her.
I think they're going to try to do something similar, like a James Gunn, Peter Safran type thing. I think they want to build out, get back to theaters.
Probably want Jon Favreau.
That's
I'm thinking Favreau, but it has to be someone with him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and he's done enough behind the scenes, and he could be a safe choice. The interesting thing about all of this is just we're going to talk a lot about politics in Hollywood today, and that's kind of what's been the lingering aspect of Kathleen Kennedy. Because when these rumors were around years ago, they were kind of looking to just upseat her and have a replacement already picked to upseat her, and that did not go well with people. And it's because Kathleen Kennedy has been involved in the industry for so long. She's so well liked within the industry because she's helped build people's careers. She's been part of projects that are considered great, incredible projects that we like. Her first producer credit was E.T. She's been around for like 30 fucking years doing this. And we tend to look at her just with this lens of Star Wars right now. But the industry kind of like turned on Disney saying, no, we're not going to do this to her. Like, she has helped so many of us. She's done so many things. So that's kind of what caused that chaos. And, the years that this rumors have been going around, I've never said, hey, I think she's on her way out. 2 weeks ago, I said, I'm hearing she's on her way out. So it looks like they've decided to go ahead and say, no, we're letting her go. We've got a severance package, and it's going to make more people open to do it. Now, the problem is a lot of people don't want to do it because of the mess that Lucasfilm is in. They have an uphill battle that's probably harder to overcome than what DC is trying to overcome right now.
Yeah, I mean,
they got to reboot.
Star Wars seemed to be something you couldn't destroy. I mean, it really felt like it was something that could never be destroyed, and they kind of did. And reboot they have to. and reboot in a way that everything is rebooted. But
Yeah.
Well, let me ask the panel: if they did bring in somebody great to redo or like do the next phase of Star Wars, do you think it's too late?
To salvage, if they want to keep the same saga going on, jumping back in between episodes and doing stuff, I'm like, no, let's stop that. Let's just reboot. Let's just say we're done with the Skywalker saga because you already killed it anyway.
But
and let's get some new Star Wars.
Here's the thing: the Star Wars means shit without the Skywalkers.
yeah.
It doesn't.
Well, how would been plenty of great Star Wars without the Skywalkers, Doc?
What can you do, Doc? Though, like, you're going to continue this story like this entire time? Like, you gotta.
They're all dead.
You gotta do something different.
Yeah, So that's the point.
That's a reboot.
You killed the story. It's done.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
over.
maybe it just has to be done. They won't do that, but
they're going to
do it. That's what
they're going to try to bleed that stone forever because it's now an IP they own. So yes, it's not over in the fact that they're going to stop making product. The problem is there's just not going to be any audience there to
That's the thing, is it's going to take them a while to get that trust back. They can probably put out a great movie and it'll do okay, but if they ever want to hit like $2 billion again, they're probably going to have to put out like 5 or 6 movies in a row to where people actually trust them and got to go back and see it on streaming or whatever.
I think that's
before they're going to
if you're continuing, I'm sorry, Wes, if you're continuing the same story, like you're saying you got to keep the Skywalkers.
I didn't say that. Doc said that.
No,
I said they need to make 6 good movies in a row.
Right.
So you got to keep Rey too. If you can't get rid of the Skywalkers, Doc.
No, you got to get rid of Rey.
You got to get
rid
rid
of all
of
that stuff.
Rey.
So you got to
You can
reboot.
go Old Republic.
She's not a Skywalker.
Well, she said she was. Doc.
She changed her
Say it all
fucking.
she wants.
Hey,
We're not going to have this debate, Doc. This is another conversation. But they have to get rid of that stuff. They have to find a new starting point, and they have to put out good content. Think about The Mandalorian. They had a good starting point with the streaming stuff. People like that show. What did they follow it up with? Book of Boba Fett. That absolutely sucks. What did they follow that up with? Obi-Wan. That even sucked even harder. And now they have a good show, Andor, and nobody will watch it.
No one's watching it.
Right?
Look, the universe isn't really all that interesting without that central connecting point, which was the Skywalkers. It's you'd have to find another thing that people like, another character that people could really latch onto, and not some corporate fucking boardroom created meets all the modern diversity checkpoint, perfect at everything.
Well, that's the good thing about Star Wars. They have 40 years of history where they're jumping around. There are other starting points with the Old Republic, the New Republic. You could jump out to the future. You could do lots of
Skywalkers
stuff.
there, right?
None of them.
Hopefully not.
Look, Luke existed as kind of an everyman that was kind of an audience insert, pulled from nothing into this fantastical, political intrigue world, and that turned out he was really good at shit. So that's what people were able to grab onto and connect with. None of the characters that are there currently. You'd have to come up with a wholly new character, find a way to connect it to something.
That's what I'm telling you, Doc. You actually don't need to do that because they've got 40 years of books and comics and actually video games of other characters people actually like. They're not all force sensitive, but some of them are force sensitive. Some of them are Jedi, some of them are Imperial officers and stuff like that. There are other starting points with characters that aren't whole cloth, that have already been established, that they could go and they could start with. But they have to do something good, and that's been the problem. They haven't done much good at all.
And they got to get back in theaters. This is ridiculous. Go ahead.
It's been a long time since we got a movie.
Yeah.
What they need to do, I'm with Doc. Start fresh, get a new Jedi. The drawing point for him is going to be that he's gay and his anti-villain doesn't like gay people.
yes.
What about this? What if his name is Duke Skywalker?
Duke.
Yes. And he's the great grandfather of Luke Skywalker.
And he's a couple of shades darker.
Maybe.
Yes.
Just make him black.
Potential.
Just
Have
make
an
him
old
black.
Luke in a cave and do what they did with Star Trek.
So I
and
can
just
feel some
reboot it
pride
all.
with this.
All right, let's hear from the people. The people have said a lot of stuff about Star Wars. They want to talk about it. First, Kenneth Dowling says, I got Bane and Samurai Jack. Bane and Samurai Jack is the correct answer, sir. Congratulations. You got 2 out of 3, Kenneth.
I would have
You're
gone with
almost-
Usagi. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I love Usagi
It
Joe.
is. Megawatts Dread, Bane versus Deathstroke, X-Men versus Sinister Six.
Well, that's not fair.
Deathstroke,
X-Men
old
versus
school
Sinister Six.
Deathstroke should be able to take
I
out
say
Bane.
Deathstroke. Yeah.
You think
And then as
Deathstroke
far as
take out Bane?
X-Men versus Sinister Six, there's about 100 X-Men, so I'll take
Yeah, that's
that.
what I'm saying. That's not even fair. X-Men.
Yeah,
That's not
the
fair.
X-Men can go toe to toe with the fucking Imperial Guard, and the Imperial Guard would wipe the floor with the Sinister Six. So yeah, no.
Yeah.
Drew from Comics Elite says Bane tries to snap Bullseye's eye's spine, but snaps his femur bone because Bullseye's spine is made of adamantium. Bullseye takes a piece of Bane's femur and stabs him in the chest. Winner,
Oh,
Bullseye.
wow. Creative. There's a writer right here. You're a writer, Drew.
He is a
That's
writer.
interesting.
He
Okay, good stuff right there.
I don't know, man. It feels
Crazy.
like if he tried to like snap his spine and it was made of adamantium, it would just rip him in half. Isn't Bane that
He will
strong?
rip. Yeah, he'll just rip the skin off of the
Yeah,
adamantium.
I don't think the adamantium spine would stop him from getting shredded.
Yeah,
No, I think his point was Bullseye has an adamantium skeleton. When he
Mhm.
tried to,
He said that his
Yeah,
whole
he does
skeleton's
believe.
adamantium now.
Oh, okay. And
Is that what you're saying?
No,
He's just saying spine.
yeah, spine. So
How
when
would he
you
get
try
an
to,
adamantium spine? Does he have a healing factor now?
I was about to say.
I have no fucking clue.
Well, Doc, you're the Marvel aficionado. I'm trying to piece this together. Does the
I
story
haven't
make
bothered
sense?
to
He
give it.
survived that.
Yeah, there's no way that look. It's probably well, actually, with him, it might be. I don't think it's going to be the same type of process that they used on Wolverine. They probably replaced vertebrae with basically synthetic vertebrae.
Infused it.
Yeah, but you would have to
basically.
you would have to sever your spinal cord, Doc.
I don't know how the fuck they did it. Magic.
Yeah, man,
They
comic book-
magicked it around him. I don't know.
He was
They slid it up
resurrected,
from the bottom.
and Proteus gave him an adamantium spine. How's that?
They slid it up from the bottom. I don't fucking know.
All right, Drew. I think you got to work out the kinks on that one, but you're on to something.
That's a good
Yeah.
story. Right there. I like that.
Daniel Beatty says, I was upset with you with the no more Cavill, then you brought me back with Kennedy out. Listen, I didn't do anything with Kennedy Cavill. You're upset with James Gunn. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
Although I wish I could have fired Kathleen Kennedy for you. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Henry Cavill. He deserved a better
Yeah.
Superman run, but he just,
Did.
it never happened.
That's a tragedy, yeah, with that. Yeah.
Man, this is going to be hard. My piss smaller than your pee-pee. My pee-pee is smaller than your pee-pee. Thank you very much. I got it. What story should Star Wars do moving forward? I think they should do a Rogue Squadron streaming show, which I think would be very good. You could do an ensemble cast, bring back Biggs or whatever his name back. It's not Biggs. Which one is it? It's
Porkins.
not
Bring back
Porkins
the
is
fatty.
dead. No, who's the
Wedge.
rogue leader? Wedge.
Yeah.
Bring Wedge back. Do that on streaming show. I think that would be really cool.
Mm.
But if you got to start somewhere, just go to the Knights of the Old Republic. There's a lot of cool stuff.
That would be good for a streaming show. I don't think that could.
You don't think
with
that's
that,
the
though.
next trilogy?
I
Theatrical?
think that would be a really good show. I don't know about
Jim, what's
movie.
the next trilogy then?
Dude, the hell do I know? Or I'd be
Well,
making a
you
lot
told
more
me I'm
money.
wrong, but you got no answers.
I'm
But
just
you're
saying. I
wrong.
think that would be a
Jesus,
great.
Doc.
I think it would be a great way to start. Start with a streaming show, like you said, and then develop into the movie side of things. I think that the Old Republic, and I love the Knights of the Old Republic, the games, all that. I think it would be
There's a
like
good
Doc
ad-
said, though. You would
comic
have
book
people
series
right
too.
away. No Skywalker. You have to ease them into it, though.
How
I
about
think
The
this?
Jedi.
How about this,
Cool
Jim?
Jedi.
What if we get an Ewok Jedi, the first one ever?
I'm in.
Kids will love it.
Yeah, Wicket's great grandfather.
He could be called
is
Digit.
What it is.
Digit.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Digit Volume 1. That's the movie.
I really want something that's not connected to no one. I really want them to try to do that. To not connect to no lineage or nothing.
Yeah.
You know, they're
not even the Ewoks? Endor?
Nothing. No lineage, nothing.
Jeez.
If you really want it to be successful, you need to set
I want it to be sexy, Doc. That's what I want it to be.
You need to set it a couple of thousand years in front of or behind the original trilogy. Keep it.
Yeah, the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes, I know, and have it very different in tone. I mean, yes, it's going to be Jedi versus Sith, obviously, but you got to have a much larger Sith threat. Kind of look, you did the original movie like Alien. Do the next one like Aliens.
Do you like Star Wars, Doc?
A little bit.
Not really.
I liked the original movies when they were on. I never cared about watching any of the
Anytime I talk about Star Wars, you make fun of me and call me a nerd.
What about the prequels, Doc? You like the prequels at all?
He talks about Star Wars like he talks about Lord of the Rings.
I really make fun of people that like Lord of the Rings. Those people are fucking nerds.
So there you go. Josh, what were you saying? You're a writer. You like Star Wars.
I was going to say, I mentioned my comment earlier and Gabe added to it that, yes, what will save Star Wars are rainbow lightsabers. And I agree. But no, Gabe made a serious comment about if you can probably step away from the Skywalkers if you just focus on the Force. And it made me think, like, I'm not heavily invested in Star Wars lore. I haven't seen the animated shows. I haven't read the books. So if this is out there, you can crucify me. I can lose my nerd card. I kind of feel like that'd be a good idea. If you jumped in the future and there are no Jedi around anymore, none exist, and then you have someone discover that they have like the
kind of like
powers
the Force Awakens.
Well, I mean, but
there's
like
no Jedi left.
Oh God, no!
But there are none. There are none, so they don't understand what they've got. There's no one there to explain to them.
All they have is very, very, very
old like folklore or tales or something.
Yeah,
and they have
and writings that they have to try to interpret to figure out what the fuck they're even doing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Maybe. I'm pulling you off the project. I don't think that's the way to go.
It's better than what they did with Rey. All right.
That's true. Kenneth Alex says Kathleen Kennedy could be replaced by someone worse. I've heard some shady things are going on at Disney.
Business is going on at Disney, and quite frankly, business needs to happen. That's what, just point blank. I'm not going to say all of it's good, but there are people in positions that shouldn't have been in positions. Some people that Iger placed and it's not working out, and some people that Chapek placed that never had any right to be in those positions. Go, bye, boot. See you later.
Time to put Victoria Alonso in charge of Star Wars.
Oh.
I will say that they do gotta get it together because don't they eventually want to possibly sell or merge? So I'm just saying they do gotta get their IPs together. So I hope for the best.
Absolutely. Gavin says I still doubt it because she'll find a way to renew her contract. And if I happen, I still vow not to support Disney, Lucasfilm, nor support their biased favoritism. Reject Disney, Star Wars, embrace Eden Zero.
I think this one's real, y'all. This
you have a valid point to not believe it because we've heard the rumor so many times. It just so happens I've never talked about the rumor on the channel because I never believed it before. I talked about it this time because it feels like it's actually happened. Yeah. We've heard about it from so many different sources that they're kind of all having the same story that it's like, okay, this feels pretty believable right now.
That's what I tend to do if it's like 2 or 3, good sources. Yeah.
You know what actually would be a halfway decent Star Wars story?
Come on, man.
No. Seriously.
Forward.
Hold on. It's these people discovering the Force for the first time. Nobody. There is no Jedi. There is no Sith yet. An origin for it. That would actually maybe get people interested.
All right. Let's go to the next one. Cal Miles says it's not just her they need to get rid of. They need to destroy those High Republic groomers. But also that guy that went after the Star Wars theory.
Oh, yeah.
Who went after Star Wars theory? Was it Hidalgo?
Hidalgo.
Yeah, Pablo Hidalgo's an asshole. He's been a certified asshole for like 8 years. Everyone knew that.
High Republic. I didn't read none of that shit.
No one read the High Republic.
Hey, is there still a rock? Is there still a rock that's a ship's captain?
Yes. That's High Republic.
Yeah, I know. Does the thing still exist?
I don't know. I don't read
like
it.
a sentient fucking rock.
You have, Doc.
Yeah, no one's reading that.
No one's read that shit. Hidalgo, he's an asshole. he should not be in charge. They're gonna have one of those guys, I guess Filoni, but not that guy either. He has idea problems. They need someone to rein that guy in.
Favreau has to be involved somehow. Like however they
You are
do.
correct, sir.
Yeah.
My PP is smaller than your PP. What's in store for comics in 2023? Pain.
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah.
Events.
More financial bleeding.
Caleb says firing Gina and Obi-Wan broke fans. Oh, maybe that was the final straw for some fans. It was The Last Jedi.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah.
That's what started.
And I mean, and look, people like to complain about comic book fans or nerd fans, being too passionate or too whatever, and just like complaining about everything. But if we're being honest, our fandom, we let a lot of things slide. We take.
I watched Attack of the Clones, which was terrible, and I went back and saw that last movie.
And that is my point, especially like people related to comics when they go to watch. Like we're used to having good comic runs and then a really shitty comic run, but we know a good comic run is going to come, and it kind of translates into films. We know that there's going to be a bad film at some point. We're like, all right, that sucked, but it's going to get better. And then Star Wars, kind of just like kept throwing out, cow patties at people. So.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas.
Yeah, I think Last Jedi put like a line in the sand and ended up having the fandom fight within each other. Whether you like it or not, it made this clear division and it turned something fun into just nonsense.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too. Like overall, the whole reason Bob Iger even acquired Star Wars and Marvel was he looked at Disney's slate and he goes, you know what? We have Disney princesses for girls, but we don't have anything for boys that aren't like toddler age boys. And that's the whole reason he acquired these two properties, that he wanted them there to have something that was reminiscent. And then they start the Star Wars movies. And what's one of the first things Kathleen Kennedy says? This isn't for boys. And it's like,
the Force is female.
You.
Absolutely. Common sense, not supporting Disney Lucasfilm is worth it. I didn't see the new Willow show, and I'm glad I dodged the bullet. Not buying Jedi Survivor is a small price to pay. I didn't watch Willow either, and I like that movie.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't even touch that show.
I love Mad Morgan.
I made one day, but I just
not in it.
Isn't that stupid? How do you have a show without Mad Morgan? But I'm the audience for Willow, right? I watched as a kid, and despite not a lot of people loving it, I did. I had the action figures and stuff, and I have zero interest in ever watching the credits, let alone an actual show.
Well, and to go with Willow, I ended up being a big Star Wars fan, Indiana Jones fan, and when Willow came out, I had to see it because of Lucas. I ended up because it was something that it expanded beyond even those movies, and now I don't even want to watch a Star Wars movie. It's just crazy.
Kenneth says X-Men all day, not even close. Best damn superhero team in the history of comics. Bane versus Deathstroke would be a great fight. Both strong yet skilled tactical geniuses. Awesome challenge. Yeah, the X-Men would absolutely.
Yeah, pick a winner,
Sinister
Kenneth.
Six. But I still think Deathstroke is his original incarnation because he is powered up, but he also can use like 90% of his brain, so he can like predict what you're gonna do before you even do it, kind of thing, right, Josh?
Yeah, yeah, for the most part, yeah.
The Midnighter's better.
Yeah.
Well, Midnighter's not in this one, Doc.
Yeah, but he could be.
Deathstroke.
But he could.
Well, he would like to be the meat and the Sammy. I'm not going to deny that.
Also, the Sinister Six can't beat one guy. Like, what fucking luck do they?
They can't even beat Spider-Man.
What the fuck luck do they have against the entire X-Men team?
Common Sense says the last Jedi message at the least is let the past die, but make it a hypocritical because it's repeating the past for the Empire Strikes Back and Rise of the and Return of the Jedi, which added character assassinations of Luke and sidelined Finn, Poe, and Phasma. Yeah. Let the past die, but we're going to try and like monetize nostalgia and all the things that you loved in the past.
Yeah. That movie was such a clusterfuck that Rise of the Skywalker, whatever, the end of it, that was terrible. Terrible film.
So once Luke grabs the lightsaber, he looks at it and he throws it over his shoulder. I said, that's fucked up. That doesn't feel right. But once, Finn walks out and he's got all those tubes got him and they're like spiting liquid everywhere, even though he just had his spinal cord severed. I was like, oh, that's what this shit is. And then you had the Poe doing the back and forth being funny. That's when I realized this was a pile of garbage.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this last film didn't matter. Okay, we're just making shit up as we go.
You filleted him like a butterfly pork chop. You know what I mean? Right down his spinal cord.
Crazy.
My goodness. Finn had so much potential to be the breakout character.
I know, and they could have turned him into like a Jedi Darth Vader.
Yeah, you could have had a cool arc. You could have made him a bad guy.
Darth Vader technically was a Jedi, Doc.
No. What I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, you get my point.
No, I don't get your point. What are you saying?
You have a guy. No, in the original trilogy,
backwards is the Sith that becomes a Jedi.
Yeah, no.
Who did that? Was that was it Plagueis that did that? Which one was good, went bad? Revenant?
Raven. Yeah, he was the one who was a Jedi, went Sith, and then came back.
He's the only one that's ever done that, right?
Well, first, my point was in the original trilogy, you had the whole parallels between all of Anakin getting bits cut off of him and then having to replace them with cyborg fucking parts, and it was part of the problem that eventually made him into Darth Vader. And you saw that happening with Luke, and you could start that same thing instead of just losing his hand and then losing another bit,
like losing another dong. Just cut it off.
you do it starting with or fucking what the hell's his name as that stand-in, Finn as that stand-in, to have a similar arc, except for he's not an actual Jedi.
Yeah, they should have just killed him off in Force Awakens.
They should have just killed him off in Force Awakens. Yeah. It would have been a better death for him.
Going on Wes's idea, Luke Skywalker, eunuch of the universe.
Absolutely.
Yes.
TY, it's time to admit Star Wars movies were never meant to be more than the OG trilogy. Prequels and sequels were both bad. Not all of the prequels are bad. Yeah. The Rise of the Sith is fine. It's actually a pretty good movie. Mm-hmm. If you watch Attack of the Clones, which is terrible, but you skip all the scenes with Padme and Anakin, it's pretty okay. I don't like the what is it, the
Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace.
No, yeah.
I don't know what George Lucas was thinking starting there. Luke or Anakin never should have been like 8 years old. He should have been 17 years old. There was like a good story. I couldn't.
Yeah. The Jar Jar. You upset about Jar Jar?
And there's one big thing that I love about the sequels. Actually, it's that it made me appreciate the prequels a little bit more. That's about all I get from there. But
I don't take prequels.
But I don't think Star Wars was ever supposed to be more than just the first movie.
Yeah, he didn't know if he was going to get, the funding and stuff. So it is such a great
a lot of the
standalone
stuff that's
movie.
Revealed later on doesn't make sense if you watch the first movie. Like the Darth Vader stuff doesn't make sense. Darth Vader appears to die at the end of the first movie. Like you can tell that was supposed to be a definitive ending of the film, not supposed to continue on. So there's a whole expanded universe that worked like a charm for 40 years with or without the movies. You know what I mean? Yeah. You could continue on within that universe. It was absolutely right for the building. And that's why they were able to do it.
That's the thing that worried me when Marvel, Disney, got it. They said that the expanded universe is now gone and took it away. And that was the biggest mistake, I think.
Yes. Absolutely. Blade Craver says they're just going to remake the original trilogy in the next 15 years.
Reboot.
Likely.
Probably.
I mean, they already remade Star Wars with The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to.
I mean, it's the same movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Kind of like beat for beat with some new actors in it. Ideator, 2 movies, one set in the tone, the second to show a trend. The universe can survive without Skywalkers. Knights of the Old Republic was a huge hit with new characters. Absolutely.
Yeah, just get rid of the Skywalkers. Just reboot.
It's time to move on. You can't just be the Skywalker thing. Fargate 01. Has anybody on the panel watched all 12 episodes of Andor? I think it has the best acting of all the shows. If you understand, it's a slow burn setting up the rebellion. No, I haven't watched any of them because I'm checked out on Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
I tried. I know it's a slow burn. That's I keep getting lost like episode 2 and 3, and I got to start over because I'm missing shit. So it's like I'm gonna get through it eventually, though.
Well, you know how much people aren't watching it because they're giving it away for free on Hulu too.
I think it's on ABC too, right?
If you have a Hulu subscription and don't have Disney Plus, they're like,
I think you gotta watch the first 2 episodes. That was it. Yeah. Right.
It was
Yeah,
on
but I think
I don't know. I haven't even watched them.
I think on Thanksgiving Day they aired like the first 4 episodes on ABC. Like they're trying really hard to get people to watch it.
They're like, please watch it.
Yeah.
I just can't right now.
At what point did they realize, hey, we're now giving you this shit for free and you're still not watching? Maybe we've burned.
I think that's why
the goodwill.
that she signed her severance package, Doc. I think they realized. They're like,
they burned all.
We can't give this shit away.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's time to go.
Candace says, Wes, I got you on Bullseye and Adamantium. It was implanted properly in his spine by Lord Darkwind using a special herb treatment that protects him from infection. I think if you're replacing someone's spine, infection is your last issue. Right, Doc?
I have no fucking clue.
I thought you were a doctor.
Not that kind of doctor. But yeah, probably. I mean, you're probably going to die of infection.
Yes.
No, you're going to die when they cut out your spinal cord and they sever your spinal column.
Well, assuming they actually sever it. You don't know how
I think
that
you have
thing
to
went
do that
on.
to replace it and put adamantium on the bones.
Unless there's hinges.
Are there hinges
that
in
wrap
your spine?
around? No. My point is the fucking adamantium, whatever the shit they're putting around on his back to replace the spine, it can have a hinge that wraps around and then locks in place together.
I say just have Proteus do it on accident on a resurrection. There's precedence. Lade Kramer, Bride for the review of Hellcat #1 2023 with Doc. Also solicit show Punchline versus Joker and Punchline issue #6. Answer last week's question. Of course, Punchline needs to fight Joker. And, Doc will be reviewing Hellcat #1 with yours truly in March. Are you looking forward to it, Doc?
I hate you already for this.
Wonder Woman 794 wasn't that bad.
Are you high? It was fucking
terrible. It was terrible. It was
really
we won the bad version of bingo when we hit that one. It was like, jackpot. This thing is terrible. Sometimes you get surprised, but not on that one. Common Sense says, Doc, make Rey the Darth Vader by her joining Kylo Ren and Finn is the hero. It's amazing she thinks Kylo Ren is good, ignores he kidnaps and tries to kill Han. Don't even think about that stuff, man. The Reylos.
I don't know.
I could see Doc being a Reylo. You know,
all these. Look, I'm a normie when it comes to Star Wars, so I really all I care about. I don't care about what was in books. I don't care about what was in some video game. I'm just like, hey, this will make a halfway decent story about magic space knights.
All right, so the Force isn't magic, Doc. It's it's all around us. It consumes it. It helps us to bind to the universe.
I get it. That's essentially still magic.
Midichlorian.
Yeah. It's not magic.
It's still essentially magic. It is indecipherable from magic. So I don't really care.
I'll agree with Doc on this. If we get technical about what magic's supposed to be, it's supposed to be the energy in and around you. So
yes, so it's magic.
They don't use magic spells. They don't do potions or anything like that.
No, you don't.
They tune themselves into the Force so they can use it as their ally, Doc.
Okay.
I'm gonna agree with Liam Neeson on that. Yeah.
Play it back to Doc's original deal for a movie. The idea of going from what they think is magic to realizing it's the Force. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Caleb had a message for Doc.
This is why they should reboot, because we don't know what the Force is. Just reboot.
Metachlorians. It's all around us. Yeah. The Sultan of Soup says, Comics Aficionados, how do we feel about no comics adaptations of Rise of Skywalker? Do you have the other 8 comics? What does that mean for the collection? Well, they certainly they solicited it. If they never released it, I mean, it's done. Likely, I think it was written by, gosh dang it, is her name Jodie Hauser? The really generic female writer they put on everything that's crap. I believe she wrote it, so it was
Kelly
done.
Thompson?
No,
I think it was Jodie Hauser.
Who I think is just a pen name for Teenie Howard, just to get more work.
Jodie Hauser is a better writer than Teenie Howard.
Yeah.
I think
very similar though in my mind.
I can give you that. So it's done. I wouldn't be surprised if they do release it as a collection if they haven't already. But if they don't have it and you have the full collection, I would say that sucks. Like, who wants the full collection with something missing? You know what I mean?
It is still the full collection because the last thing doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what
Hey, guess what? I still really, really want issue 24 of Stormwatch Team Achilles, but it doesn't exist because they just
but that
stopped
movie
that
really.
book.
Okay, I get what you saying there, Doc.
They solicited it, and it never.
If it never came out, it never came out.
Yeah,
you're not missing anything. I got you. Max Santiago says, "To me, Luke is Star Wars. They can kick rocks." I don't know, man. To me, Star Wars is like really good action figures and really good movies and just a lot of fun.
Adventure.
Reboot.
I like those Ewoks movies. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I know Battle for Endor isn't like the most amazing thing ever, but it's pretty quality,
Caravan of Courage, bitch.
Yeah, I mean that's classic stuff.
Yeah,
I mean I like Luke. I mean I had a buddy that cried when he saw Luke in the movie for the first time in The Force Awakens. I mean I didn't feel like that. I was happy to see it, but I was just as happy to see Han and Chewie in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, I really like the Han.
I don't care about the droids. Fuck them.
No, they handled Luke better in The Mandalorian.
This is droids. Like, who gives a fuck?
Luke the Mandalorian was pretty great when he goes in and saves Grogu. It was almost like that Darth Vader scene that made Rogue One.
Yeah.
And that made that movie worth it.
That was cool. Cool symmetry there. Yeah.
If you take that if you take that scene out of Rogue One, I don't think it's all that great. It really ends you on a high note where you're like full on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They needed that punch. Yeah. I thought it was a solid film, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm telling you, you think it's more solid because they ended it on such a high note.
I was not a big
fan.
That's
true. You're probably right.
Yeah, because they managed to essentially make it a 2-hour prequel to that led directly into it.
Yeah, I didn't care about that part. Once Darth Vader showed up and I finally saw him in all of his glory, just murdering everybody unabashed, I was like,
exactly. That's what makes it work. The way that you're almost seeing his original cameo, even more so than it was at the end of episode 3.
Absolutely.
Like you got to see him in action for the first time.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have time for one more topic, guys. We're gonna do this. James Gunn is writing the new Superman movie with Henry Cavill is out as Superman. Still, you've been covering all the DCU stuff, DC films. I guess it's DC Studios now. Everything's kind of changing under Gunn. He's got his plan written up, and apparently they're going to start releasing at least some of it in January. But he is writing the Superman movie. I don't know that it's a good fit of writer and character, and Henry Cavill is out because they're going with a younger Superman.
Yeah, and I mean that's shockwaves of the Cavill thing. That is what it is, but it was time for a reboot because, as James Gunn said, DC fandom was fractious, so no one was agreeing on, do you want Snyder's vision or you want to do this other vision, branch off with Patty Jenkins. So I understand the reboot, right? So the reboot needed to happen. Now with what James Gunn's going to do, Superman, as what I'm hearing, is that probably 2025 is when you're going to get that Superman film. You'll probably get some C or D list type DC characters like in 2024. So you got this next slate in 2023, right? What are they going to do now? They already said it's a reboot. You got Shazam, Flash, Aquaman, Blue Beetle coming out, right? It's like the last hurrahs for all those characters, right? Shazam's getting rebooted. They was dying to get rid of Ezra Miller. So this is they feel this reboot is kind of getting rid of baggage, is what I was hearing. Baggage with having to pay the Trinity. They just didn't want to pay these guys for 10 years anymore. You'd rather get a younger, a lesser star, build it up, 10-year plan. So that's one thing. The fandom, like I said, they couldn't agree on anything. Some people were pissed that Cavill was at the end of Black Adam. They're like, what is this? Reboot, right? And then the baggage is like Ezra Miller and stuff like that. So they're dying to wipe the slate clean. Jason Momoa, I'm not sure if he's going to like do Lobo or whatever, but that Aquaman's done. Blue Beetle likely is going to survive though. The Cholo Mariduena kid from Cobra Kai is doing Blue Beetle. Likely he's going to be a part of the new DCU going forward. And then again, 2024, you may get like lesser known characters, and then 2025 Superman. Now the Superman, and I want to kind of get your thoughts on this because again, early rumors, right? Early rumors with this. I always thought if you're going to do a younger Superman, but he's at the Daily Planet already, according to James Gunn, maybe do like a Lobo, like the Man of Tomorrow animated thing, like kind of put Lobo in there. I'm hearing Mr. McSpitalick likely could be a villain in the Superman film. So Gunn is writing it. He probably will end up directing it if he has time. He isn't exec, but he wants to. This is his legacy move, right? And I think he's taking on a lot. I'm a little nervous about this Superman film because if this fails, the DCU fails. Just in my opinion.
Yeah.
I would say having McSpitalick as a villain sounds very James Gunn, and I think it's the wrong way to go. I mean, I think he would do a great job with it, but I think it's the wrong way to go for relaunching a brand with Superman. I think you have to do kind of what Jeff Johns did when they did Rebirth in the comics. You have to go back to these foundations of these characters. And it's like, sometimes he says things online and I'm like, okay, he gets it. He's thinking like an executive. And then he'll say some things and I'm like, okay, you're thinking like creative James Gunn. And that is not what you need to do right now. I'm curious. It's going to be interesting. I'm happy. I've been saying for God, months, a year, I don't know how long, they just need to reboot. And as much as I love Henry Cavill, and I wish he would have gotten a good Superman story. I even said on the show, like, I wish they would just end this universe, do a Kingdom Come, let these actors that have done a decent job have a good send-off, and then start over. Now, we're talking about, is James Gunn the right person to write Superman? I don't think he has a choice. Like, we have to keep in mind, he only has a 4-year contract. So he's got to get things like pumping. And they're having to find actors. They're having to find, he's going to have to be sourcing this stuff. So if he doesn't start writing something now, he's not going to have stuff come out until right as his contract's supposed to end. So he's got to get the cylinders firing. I don't know. I'm just happy that they're going back to kind of the start. They're starting fresh. And someone asked, like, okay, but are we going to get is the first film going to be an origin story? And he was like, no. Like we've seen that damn spaceship enough. Like, we don't need to see it again.
I like that move though, right? I like that choice. To not do that. Yeah.
Honestly, doing almost like a middle seasons of Smallville type, but in Metropolis, where he's becoming Superman. He's already been an active hero. He just doesn't have really a name or a rogues gallery or anything like that, and he hasn't really been truly fleshed out to start the movie. Probably, it's going to be too much like Man of Steel. Actually, now that I think about it,
judging off just what Gunn's saying, is that he's already Superman, already at the Daily Planet. So I'm just assuming, Doc, that he already kind of made a name for himself in this film, and he said that he already knows major characters in the DCU. So it's like we're jumping in a story, which it could be jarring a little bit for the fandom, but it's like, the origin story, right?
Yeah.
So
it's what they did with the Batman, and it worked fine,
Spider-Man
recently. In Spider-Man recently. We've seen it enough. We've seen enough iterations. I don't think we need it. I think you can, if you write the script well enough, you can do it in a way that you find ways of introducing these people, even though they already know each other. And look, I know I praise this guy all the time for his writing, but like, if you take the approach of what Joss Whedon did when he launched Firefly and what should have been the actual pilot, you had all these characters that knew each other, and we were, as an audience, were meeting for the first time, but it's very clear they had this chemistry, and you picked up on it right away. So you can do it. It's not easy, but you can do it.
Well, like I was going to say, if that's the villain he's picking, I think that's a poor choice.
Agreed.
You should do something like Metallo or Brainiac, something that's going to catch everybody's attention.
Hopefully it's multiple villains.
We've done enough.
Hopefully,
Or, like Lex Luthor, for me, he doesn't need to be the main villain. He should kind of just be in the background until he decides to take his stand. Yeah. So you could have Lex Luthor in this film and not have the main villain. And if you want to have Lobo come down, hey, I'm off of that like that. When Jason Momoa got cast as Aquaman, Jay Yaws from Bat News and we were talking, we're like, it seems like a waste because he is the perfect Lobo.
No.
He would,
and I hope it happens. But.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know people are asking about Ta-Nehisi Coates as well too. That's still in development hell right there. And I still don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it'll happen.
The race swap. They should be doing Val Zod. This is ridiculous that they're trying to race swap Clark Kent. That's just stupid. So hopefully that dies. Going forward.
From what I understand, that is dead in the water. At least at that iteration and creation of it. Warner Brothers is not happy with J.J. Abrams. Like they are not on good terms right now.
They won't outright say that the Ta-Nehisi Coates movie's canceled because they themselves don't want the bad press. Because
that's why.
Especially following Batgirl and
they have to wait a while.
No, they'll just let it die on the vine and never discuss it again.
Probably.
So they continue with.
So
Robert
Clock
Pattinson.
Rabbit says, what prompted all this Momoa is Lobo talk on the internet? It's because James Gunn put out a picture and was talking about James and Momoa. People have already talked about the two being cast together, but he definitely added fuel to the fire. It's not out of nowhere. Like there's
the Lobo picture, and then Momoa like saying he's excited for something because Peter Safran is a good friend of Jason Momoa, so he's probably going to give him that role, in the reboot. Yeah, a lot of makeup on his face.
What they really need is a Lobo versus Aquaman movie where he just fights himself the entire time.
Do the streets really want that?
No, that's what we need. And
do it like Face Off, right? Because that was a good movie.
Yeah, except for he'll just be himself the entire time. It'll just be him versus him. They don't even, make every other character also Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa.
Didn't they do that with John Malkovich?
Maybe, but they can absolutely do it here. Just make every character. And Jason Momoa is in love with Jason Momoa, who is fighting Jason Momoa.
Yep. But in the new DCU, they really should. If he is Lobo, he really should fight Aquaman in that new DCU. It has to hilarious.
I mean, him and Stargate, he looked exactly like Lobo. I mean, it wasn't any sort of jump when, like even what Josh said, it seemed like a given almost the way he looked even in that.
So still, it's not like coincidence that they're getting rid of all the Snyderverse stuff. I think they're clearly doing everything they can to differentiate the DCU from anything Snyderverse related. They canceled the Wonder Woman movie. We're never going to see Ezra Miller back as the Flash. Ray Fisher is not going to come back as Cyborg. Henry Cavill is out as Superman. And it sounds like they cut the cameo scenes of Ben Affleck as Batman and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman from the Flash movie as well. They are cutting it all out.
Reports are that Ben was relieved, actually. Like Ben Affleck, I guess when he got the word Cavill was done, Ben was like, okay, I was ready to quit anyway. He may direct a DC film. But, it's wiping out. I was hearing this before this presentation they had this past Tuesday, like Gunn and Safran presented, the slate to Zaslav, right? And Zaslav said, okay, let's do it. TV, films, everything, right? Before that meeting, I heard James Gunn was hell-bent into erasing the Snyderverse. He was like, I want to wipe the slate clean. Not saying like, I hate everything about it, because he's a fan of Man of Steel, the film. But
he certainly likes Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
but it can't be his if you keep the Snyderverse. It's not his.
And the biggest thing is that Gunn wants his JL, because you still may get Margot Robbie, you still may get some of the Suicide Squad, but he was like, we got to reboot the JL specifically to sell this DCU. So that's what he got.
I do have a stand. Like I think if you're gonna start fresh, you have to start fresh. And I get he's wanting to hold on to some things, but I think if he holds on, even if it's just Margot Robbie and freaking John Cena, if he just holds on to those two, I think it's going to cause such a shitstorm, because people are going to be like, oh, you got rid of these people, but you kept these. Like, it's just going to create more infighting. And like right now, you've got to cut it, start fresh, try to, avoid the infighting. There's already going to be enough of people like, oh, this
I like Peacemaker, but that's not going to be integral to anything. Like, do your second season, have some fun with it, and then leave it alone.
Yeah, don't touch it again. Like the season 2 is coming. It's coming. We're going to get it. So write it, finish that story, package it up nicely, say thank you, move on.
First season was funny.
In general, you have to keep him. Go ahead.
No, the idea of holdover. I just wanted to touch on that real quick, John. That because people like, okay, you got to wipe everything off, right? Margot Robbie likely. I only say that because they may bring back Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke to be part of the Suicide Squad or Secret Six. So it's going to be some holdover. It just mainly they wanted to reboot the Justice League. overall.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? This actually opens up Affleck to go play Nighthawk over in the MCU.
He wants to direct. Ben
And
wants
then
to direct.
and then they can have Margot Robbie go play Lady Deadpool.
I think.
Well, the
Ben
rumor
Affleck
is right
done
now they're
putting on tights.
incorporating the Twilight guy Batman into the DCU. That's going to be the
That's what I was gonna
DCU's
ask.
Batman.
So this rumor was brought up, and then James Gunn said no, absolutely not, because Matt Reeves is adamantly against
Doing his own thing.
Yeah, he's very much like, nope, I've got my universe, I don't want to touch it. And part of that could be because a lot of the DCU films have been shit. But I fully suspect that James Gunn is going to say, yeah, no problem. You go do your Batman thing. We've got it. You're going to have the Batman 2 come out. You're going to have the Penguin series come out. All that stuff's going to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised if James Gunn then is like, hey, so we're incorporating your Batman into Justice League.
He
Take
should.
it or leave it.
He really should. Like, I know they push back on that, Josh, right?
Yeah.
It makes no sense to have two Batman around the same age. That makes no sense at all, know, in my opinion.
And they can actually, I completely lost my train of thought. Never mind, I don't care.
Doc's snarky remark doesn't make the cut. I forgot about it.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, he's Gunn also said, if you saw his tweets, that Batman's gonna be obviously a big part of the DCU going forward. And just gotta nail Superman first, which is smart. I like. Again, I didn't like Gunn's Suicide Squad film or even a Peacemaker, so I'm not a big fan of his DC.
I thought they were fine.
But his thinking, his mind, I'm like, nail Superman first, and then you could build out this world. And then, like I said, you got it nail Batman too. But I think you should just bring Pattinson right over. Just graft it in, man.
You know what? Actually, it wouldn't. It would end up working because you could actually have a much greater kind of contrast between Matt Reeves' Batman and Gotham, along with next to whatever they come up with for Superman and Metropolis. And you can have that kind of contrast the way that the comics do. Because then
you could also bring in Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and you can bring in the Harley Quinn from that movie.
Yeah, you theoretically could. You theoretically could. But I don't know.
Made $1 billion still. I wouldn't put it off the table.
Oh no, I think they're going to. I heard that Todd Phillips is going to get a trilogy. Actually, now I don't know if that treat that as rumor, but they're expecting big things with this Lady Gaga edition, and they're going to keep it Elseworlds likely.
Do you think anyone that reads comic books is like, Lady Gaga is Harley? I got to watch it now.
No,
that's not how I felt. I was like, whatever, man.
Look,
who watched the first film though, right?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. Like, I think Lady Gaga is actually a pretty solid actress. She kind of debuted in American Horror Story, and I didn't expect much, and I thought she did really well. And then what was the film? Crap, I can't think of it.
Who was the lady that debuted in Battleship?
What?
Who's the
Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Yeah.
Was she better than Rihanna?
Lady Gaga is actually a solid actress.
She's really good.
Are you saying
she didn't really have many?
No, she wasn't.
Rihanna was pretty bad.
Gaga didn't.
I love Rihanna.
Lady Gaga didn't really have many lines in American Horror Story. She was just there to be kind of menacing.
She was the main person in season 4.
and she didn't really fucking talk.
She had plenty of lines.
I don't remember her talking at all, to be perfectly honest.
I do want to touch on the Batman real quick.
Tuned her out.
You're just sitting there checking her out the whole time.
With the Reeves thing, I did hear Reeves does not want to graft in. I just want to address something in the chat real quick. So Gunn may have to get his own Batman, but because Reeves is pushing to not integrate at all. So I just want to throw that out there.
I don't know. It feels like James Gunn probably has the power to do that if he wants to.
Yeah, because he actually runs the studio.
Have veto power. Yeah.
So, James Gunn runs the fucking studio. That's his.
If you develop a Superman or a Batman, it is successful. And let's be honest, that movie, The Batman, wasn't nearly as successful as the previous Batman trilogy. Like that that trilogy was way more successful than the Batman movie. So, but if the sequel's good and successful, I imagine they would. Why go out there and create another Batman if you have one that works?
Exactly. Agreed.
But hey, they might have two Supermans, so you never know. All right, should we hear from the people and wrap this bad boy up? We got a few super chats sitting around. This is what Ideator says. He says Avatar 2 was very good, but it was 3.5 hours long.
I'll watch it Tuesday. I'll be there to watch that.
I like Avatar. I don't know why everyone talks like it's bad or something.
It's like a family film, right? This is like an event, right? I thought. That's what they tell me.
Look, I don't dislike or like the first Avatar movie. It was pretty to look at. It was very, very thin on story. It was over the top. You were there for a spectacle, and it made money mostly because of the spectacle. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit of that spectacle again in this, maybe more. I don't know. Supposedly it's even more spectacle, and that's great, but is it really anything that nobody's seen before the way that the first one was? That would
the first one has the best use of that new 3D technology of any movie ever.
That's one of the best. That's the best 3D film I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe this one will as well, and kind of reignite that the 3D experience at theaters, because that's kind of died in the last few years. So maybe it does. I just don't see it having the same level of staying power that the first one did, because it was something new.
Yeah, I know. James Cameron has never made a bad movie. That's the other thing.
It's about to make $1 billion worldwide opening weekend. All right, worldwide.
I heard that he said that it had to be like in the top 3 of all time movies to even break even.
Apparently he was misquoted.
He needs $2 billion.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's in order to stave the inevitable. Well, no, the drop off in.
Let's move along.
Yeah,
in subsequent films, because they were all filmed together, I believe.
Yeah.
Wayne Tech Ted says gun riding Superman sounds terrible. I don't want dark, morose movies across the board, but juvenile humor all through the script isn't going to work. It does feel like the worst. Well, is it as bad as Taika Waititi Thor? Maybe not, but it's in that ballpark for me, Josh. James Gunn's Superman.
Yeah, I think James Gunn has a better scope of storytelling and emotion than Taika Waititi does. Because even with
but he still has the same tropes in his movies.
Agreed, but I think he's also aware enough that he can pull back and is capable enough to pull back if he needs to. And I think Zaslav is probably going to tell him, like, "Hey, love what you do. Love these films. Like, yeah, but this needs to scale back. Like, make it 20-30%. It can't be like 60-65%. But the thing that makes me feel somewhat reassured is, James Gunn has proven he can deliver heartfelt moments that make you feel things. Like, even looking at Guardians of the Galaxy and how slapstick and kind of crazy it was because you had all these misfits, there are moments in there. Like, I will never forget being in the theater and just getting chill bumps when he has Groot say, "We are Groot," and he saves the whole Guardian. Like, he can deliver these emotional moments. He's capable of doing it. He did it even with Suicide Squad in some ways. I will give him the benefit of the doubt, and I hope he does well, and that's where I am, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but your concerns are valid.
Oh, yeah.
You probably have.
Absolutely.
Common Sense says, how do you feel about the movie Blue Beetle is a college graduate? Jamie needs to be an adult in the comic, but most of his adventures is when he was a teen. Thoughts? I don't think that the Blue Beetle movie has to be unsuccessful. You can take a character that is not mainstream, like a character like Blade, and if you concentrate on making the very best Blade movie possible, it can obviously be successful. It was very successful before the MCU even existed. So if they go out of their way to make the best Blue Beetle movie they can with Jamie Reyes, I think that it can be good and people can enjoy it, but if it has to be connected to other stuff and referencing other things in the universe and they forget about the main thing they need to do, it's going to be like, all the D-list characters they try to shove into the MCU.
Yeah. They want a Spider-Man type. Just to answer that, like, why is he a college graduate? They want a Spider-Man type DC character, which Jaime Reyes can be. So
yeah.
And I think college graduate makes him a little more capable, and you get right to it. You don't have to have that teen angst stuff with it as well. So I think that's a good move.
Jaime Reyes too, he has the potential to be a good character. And the one thing that I will say, and Syl was kind of referencing this earlier, that they can make this part of this new universe. Right now it's not even slated to come out till August 2023. And they can even push it back a little bit more and make some small adjustments to make sure that whatever ties this may have to the old universe are gone, and you can add in some scenes that ties it to this new universe. And if they're smart, that's what they're gonna do.
And
they may push it to 2024. I just want to throw it out there. They may push it.
And then whenever they do the giant team up, it'll be JLI. We'll get Justice League
International, possibly.
You could have a team up, Booster Gold, all that stuff. Even though it's not Ted Cord, but still.
I heard DCU's gonna this new DCU's gonna kind of have remnants of like Bruce Timm, JLA animation, a little bit of that.
We'll see about that. Dill Lindsay says, with modern technology, Warner Brothers could put that out despite Cavill being in the movie. It has nothing to do with Snyder. The core audience would know. In years for this to spread to the general public. I'm assuming this is about something that you guys talked about when I was taking my pee break.
Nothing to do with. I'm thinking something about the Superman film. I'm not sure.
I think he's talking about keeping. You could keep Cavill as Superman and still just say it's separate. Look, I think for people like us, you can, and we will get it. I think general audiences, they're not going to get it. General audience is going to see a trailer. They're going to see Cavill as Superman, and they're just going to say, man, it's more the same. I thought they were rebooting.
Reporters yesterday, they removed his Flash additional scenes that he shot for the Flash. So they're trying to wipe the slate clean.
Yeah,
so.
He's gone. Yeah. I think they're getting rid of all of that stuff. Fargate01, wish they would do Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns with Christian Bale and Cavill. Think is one they would be a way to get some hype than reboot. That's one of the things they could do.
They could do that later. Yeah.
They could do a some Elseworld stories with people that have been cast in the roles previously.
Yeah.
And I think people would
I think Cavill's done. Cavill's never working with James Gunn after this. Yeah, I don't see it happening.
Plus, I mean, look, I know they didn't necessarily adapt the story, but you've already had
so
much of the story. Yeah, like part of this was in BVS. A chunk of this with the Joker was already in the Joker. Like it's you can't do it.
Yeah, that's one of the dumb things that they did with the Snyderverse is they incorporated so many elements of classic stories like into one movie.
Yeah,
like those are multiple movies that should have made money.
And they forced that after Man of Steel. They forced Batman into the film, and it just it felt clunky.
Because there were interviews right after Man of Steel about what Zack Snyder's plans were, and it was not to have Batman. Like he had kind of laid out what he was hoping to do. And I was not a fan of the Snyderverse. I didn't like it. I will admit that BVS was not really his doing. DC pushed that because they were trying to fast track the whole Justice League thing. Snyder said, hey, you can't bring all these characters together and tell a good story unless you have like 2 films or a 4-hour film. And I agreed with him on that. And DC said no, they axed it, and they pretty much threw it to Joss Whedon and said, make a 2-hour movie out of this. And there was no win. There was no win here, no matter who had it. There wasn't.
Chuck Skills says, who hates modern comics more, Doc or Alan Moore?
Me.
I had to think about that one.
Yeah, we need Doc and Alan Moore to team up. That's what we need.
Do you want like a dinner with Doc and Alan Moore where they just have a conversation about modern comics together?
It would be fucking hilarious. I would pay to see that.
Because we hate modern comics for completely opposite reasons.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Oh yeah, it would be interesting then, yeah.
Geddes says, as far as Cavill being out, if it was just Man of Steel reaction, I would keep it. But it was the Justice League, the mustache fiasco. Snyder Cut was not huge. And Cavill and Black Adam did not move the box office, so you have to reboot.
I mean, it's different factors, right? I think the aubergine screwed up multiple. Like we just talked about this after Man of Steel, you forced Batman on Zack Snyder. Now I like BVS, I do like that film, but you could tell Zack was not ready to do Batman yet. So yeah, they made a lot of mistakes leading up to this.
Still, you're my favorite person until that comment.
I love BVS. The Ultimate Edition, yeah.
Ultimate Edition is better than theatrical. I'll give you.
Yeah. I had to throw that in the Ultimate Edition.
It's too bad. Henry Cavill had potential and they wasted all of it. That's not on him, and it's not on James Gunn. It's just the position that they're in right now. It's probably it sucks that he quit The Witcher and he, according to Warner Brothers, they told him to tell people, I'm going to be Superman again.
Whoa. Like, okay, so Dwayne Johnson fought to have his cameo in, but we need to also look at this. It has come out, after these years, that it was Henry Cavill that turned down the cameo in Shazam. It wasn't Warner Brothers DC telling him no.
That wasn't a good move.
and it wasn't a good move.
Yeah.
And he was trying to play like strong arm, and I
Yeah.
get it for negotiations, but he should have done it because that kind of created tension. So Dwayne Johnson came in and fought for him and managed to make it happen, got him in as a cameo. They're going to have him in another cameo. And what he was supposed to do and what he got permission to do was what do they call it? Activation, a marketing activation. So he's supposed to say, like, you know, he purposely had to wait till the film came out with Black Adam. They had the image of his Superman. It was supposed to be a market activation to help spread the word that he is in this movie, even though it already leaked because Dwayne Johnson released it.
Yeah,
and the idea was that you do this, get your image out there, people will see it, will hopefully drive people to the box office. He decided to turn it into a campaign to try to push for getting another Man of Steel movie, which fine, you can do. I feel like he was pushed to do that by his agent. It was a piss poor move. He and Dwayne Johnson both came on way too strong. They shouldn't have done that. And now they're kind of having to like eat it. But Cavill's got, I know he got a new franchise coming up. Good for him.
Warhammer.
He's got to play it carefully because he's pissing too many studios off in Hollywood. And I love the guy, but he's pissing too many studios off.
Dylan Lindsay says, so James Gunn tweeted a picture of Kingdom Come weeks ago. What are the chances of all of this being a long-term marketing plan and that Cavill is still it?
I do not expect
It's a
Cavill
bad
at all
marketing
to ever
plan.
come
You
back.
can have Brandon Ruth in there.
Yeah.
He was already a
I think
pretty solid, you know,
Kingdom Come Superman.
Superman.
that could
I'll
probably
take
happen.
that.
But we'll definitely see Kingdom Come. I don't think that he's giving these teasers out there not to deliver on something regarding those. So, and that's one of the best-selling, most beloved DC comics of all time. So, I imagine we'll be seeing
nails
that
it.
one.
Hope he nails it.
Kenneth says, as far as Gunn writing, he could write the sensibility of the Donner film, which had some humor but stuck to the character. The Guardians films have heart. I wouldn't have Gunn writing it though.
Yeah. Josh said
He could
though
plot
that
it.
yeah, even though he knows how important this is and he understands the character, you would think that he's good enough to dial some of these tendencies back that he has to be aware of. And when he does them with these, littler characters, these, Guardians of the Galaxy, as an example. This is Superman. I think he's smart enough to, dial it back or have people around him to tell him to dial it back.
Get a co-writer is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Someone better help with the script.
He needs to hire Robert Venditti.
Yeah.
He will help him out with a good Superman.
This is gonna make or break Gunn. Like his contract's gonna be up by the time this film comes out. Basically, he got to nail this or it's over.
But if he does nail
What I
this,
said
I
last
mean,
week.
it's huge for him. I mean,
Also,
that's
legacy move. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a big
Wade Tech Ted, Reeves Batman wouldn't work. We need the Batman who was the tactical leader of the JLA. Feared, respected, not the stumbling emo recluse who struggled against stater dudes.
Hey, I'm not a
got
fan
a
of Pattinson
point.
either. I'm not a fan of him either.
A lot of people love the Batman. I think it's pretty average, and it's the second movie of a trilogy, not the opener. Like, because he does fail. Like, he gets beat
A lot.
by the Riddler. He doesn't save anybody.
No, he failed.
Yeah.
Like the end, it's like 0 year, right? What was that? Yeah, he failed.
I mean, he was a competent detective for the first time, but other
Was
than
he
that,
really?
yeah, other than that,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
found the thumb drive. He got the little. They would put it in there.
Did he fail the riddles?
no,
I'm
he,
just saying, I mean,
he got
Fair.
almost all the all the
He
riddles.
got him too late.
He just
Yeah.
got him a little late.
He failed on the pigeon skull riddle.
failed.
Yeah.
I need
Kenneth
those
says-
riddles immediately, Doc. I need to read it.
Wes, you can be so silly at times, comparing Rihanna and Battleship to Gaga and The Star is Born, but Rihanna is the hottest. So is Beyonce. Gaga is cool.
Hey. Kenneth's got
Rihanna's
good
hotter
taste.
than Gaga. Yes,
Yeah.
I deny that. I haven't seen American Horror Story or A Star is Born. I only get to
That's
watch
a good movie.
kids
A Star is Born.
movies
It's a good movie.
for the most part. You know what I mean?
Like Strange World, which is your favorite?
That was a bad.
Wait, so-
that was a bad experience.
Is A Star is Born the one where she kills her roommate? And
She's a
becomes all
country
the
singer or
things?
something with the
Yeah.
dude
Bradley
from
Cooper.
The Hangover.
Dude,
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper. Yeah.
Oh,
Two of
okay.
the-
I
the-
thought-
both of their
He's
best
He's thinking like
performances.
Black
Yeah.
Swan or something.
No, I was thinking of the one where her roommate jumps off a building and she steals all the ideas that her roommate had for a character.
Oh,
As a
you're
pop
talking about a
star.
real life story.
Yes.
Where she stole her friend's identity,
Yes.
became Lady Gaga. All right.
Yeah.
People have been talking about that in like 15 years, Doc. That's some pretty old news.
Yeah, I figured. Hey, you know what?
Let
It
it
is
go, Doc.
Hollywood.
Let it go. She's a
They can
star.
always just do it.
She's her own thing now. She doesn't even wear meat dresses anymore, which is all about the outrage. Common Sense says, will there be aficionados next week on Christmas Eve? I have great news for you. Yes, there will be a Comics Aficionados right here on Christmas Eve morning in the United States. It will be Christmas Eve here. You might see my wife in the background doing some stuff. We will be here. We will not be here on New Year's Eve morning, though, because it will be New Year while I would be doing the show, and there's so many illegal fireworks here, it's not even funny. But there will be Comics Aficionados on New Year's Day morning. I have the panel almost fully booked, and we should have some fun there. I know there won't be a lot of people in there, but we will be talking about the best comic books and stories of the year. What is so funny, Josh? Are you making fun of me?
You said illegal fireworks, and my mind went in the Philippines. What is that? Like hand grenades that they're just throwing in the air?
Really?
Actual mortar shells.
No,
Nukes.
just fireworks you're not supposed to be shooting off in the city, but they're going to do it anyway.
I mean, they're illegal in
Just
most
like in the
places
United
here
States.
too.
That's what I said.
Yeah. It just
I was
sounded
using
funny.
a term that you should be. You guys.
We love you.
I'm
Wes.
not going to use. I'm not going to say you're racist, but my goodness. But we will be here on Christmas Eve morning for everybody. We'll be talking about some fun stuff. Whatever news comes out, we'll have a good time. And like I said, we'll be here on New Year's Day. I think Eric Breen's going to be with us. Eric O'Sullivan. I think maybe Aaron Sparrow. Yes, I believe Aaron Sparrow is also going to be with us. So should have a fun panel. I haven't fully booked up Christmas Day, but I know Josh won't be here because he's too good for us.
We celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, so I will not be here.
Yeah, so should be fun. We'll see about Doc and the rest of the gang. And that should do it for today's show. I think we had a good time. We got through 3 topics. We hit them hard. Thank you very much to everyone for supporting the channel. We're having a good time here. Getting to the end of the year, I've got a bunch of content coming out over the next several days. I will not be taking any more skipsies. I'm going to concentrate on the stuff that's out there and put out the best content possible. I do want to say thank you very much to Sil Abdul. Do you have any comic books you think people should be reading this week?
I picked up a few this week, actually. Now I get a lot of insight, watching your channel. So I finally got the Silvestri Deadly Duo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the good shit.
With that. And then, of course, Batman Spawn, right? So I got like 5 covers, but one of my favorites is the Jim Lee cover. You can see his Batman from like a mile away, right? Batman Spawn. So those are 2. I still have to sit down and read them. I was just happy to get
You're going to
them.
like the Batman Joker book a lot more, if you ask me.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
My impression of what I read of. So very good. Thank you very much for the recommendations. Do you have any hot videos out right now or things that are coming up the next week people should know about on your YouTube channel? And there is a link in the video description.
Right on. Yeah, definitely. As Sil Abdul, or Sil Abdul Inc. I think is my tag over there. And basically, we've been covering this DCU fallout, the end of the Snyderverse. A lot of my viewers, were big fans, unlike Josh down there, of the Snyderverse. So we're talking about why it happened. And actually, today I'm going to do a live stream in a couple hours where I did get some information as far as why did he push that nuke button? Like, why did he really reset this? I kind of threw it out there today, but I'm going to go more in depth of the money, of the fandom, and stuff like that going forward. And then, then we're just excited to see what's going to happen with James Gunn. I'm going to be covering that as much as possible when the slate, details comes out next month. And then on top of that, I do other geek and nerdy shit as well too. So, but comics, film, entertainment, that's what we do over there.
If you've not been checking out Sil Abdul's channel, you are missing out and you're doing comic book YouTube wrong. The man has all the stuff that especially DC geeks could definitely look for. Definitely support him. We've also got Carrie, Nerdy Girl Creates. We went out a little bit of your comfort zone. We didn't hit manga here, except for Doc making him an ass of himself. But Doc does that every single week. You got any comics or manga you're recommending this week?
1 comic, 1 manga, and I want to go with Ghost Rider number 9. This was really good. I've been liking this series with the exception of that race, but it's been pretty good.
Absolutely.
I love the art. Great. This one's for Doc. My Hero Academia's current run is
Beautiful.
Something else. There's a lot of intrigue, a lot of battles, a lot of loss. There's big reveals, and it's just getting better.
It's something. It's just not
If if you are manga curious or you are a manga fan, definitely visit Carrie's channel, Nerdy Girl Creates. There's a link in the video description for that as well. Is there anything people should be looking out for, or maybe a hot video you've had in the last week that they need to know about, Carrie?
Oh yeah, I've got some videos right now. I'm jumping into the world of manhwa, which is South Korean comic books. And if you don't like black and white manga, manhwa goes colored. A lot of it is adapted from webtoons. They have some really good ones. Also tonight, I think I might be involved in a reading vlog for a manga called Farian, which is a great fantasy tale. So keep tuned for. I hope to have that information soon on my channel. So I'll let you know.
Colored, Carrie, really? This isn't the 50s. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not that. Come on.
Who else? We got Jim from Weird Science DC. If you are not supporting those guys on Patreon, they have a lot of amazing inside information. Obviously, they have about 17 billion podcasts. In fact, Jim almost died this week trying to make these podcasts. Do you have any comic books you want to recommend this week?
Maybe Batman Incorporated #3. It was pretty solid. That's about it. I didn't.
How's
really
your poisoning going? Are you going to be okay?
It's great. It's doing great. Sometimes I wish it was a little more, but yeah, you can hear I can't barely talk still. But here we are. But yeah, Batman Incorporated #3. I really enjoyed a book that I wasn't that down with until this issue. This got me a little more on board. But other than that, maybe that Invincible Iron Man over at Marvel new run starting. It's better than Christopher Cantwell's nonsense that he had before. So you have that. But other than that, go read manga. That'll be the deal. Hashtag for Doc. But I was going to pick like a random crazy, and Carrie knows that some of the titles of the manga go on for like days, and they're
My left titty
hilarious.
hurts.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah.
So, but yeah, other than that, I don't know. The comics have been down a bit the last month or so, and it's tough sometimes to come up with a lot of recommendations. But those are
if you want to keep up with Jim and the guys at Weird Science, there's also links to their website and some other places also in the video description. Josh, your audio sucked at the very beginning. Apparently you were doing a little bit of laundry, but we got you back on track. You didn't crap out this week.
Yeah, we heard the buzz of my washing machine draining, and I couldn't hear it because I had my headphones in, and someone mentioned it. I was like, what the hell are y'all talking about? And I took my headphones and I was like, oh shit. I look, the mentions that people have given, I will support. I've read Batman Spawn. Look, it is what it is. I think if you're expecting the greatest thing ever, like you're gonna be let down. I tried to go in not expecting as much. I enjoyed it. It's fine. There's aspects I didn't like. I enjoyed seeing Capullo draw Batman again. They pulled some new 52 stuff. I wish they wouldn't have. But look, it was fun. And what I will say is, if you want to support your local comic shops, they're probably ordered bukus of these. So go buy a copy, even if it's just to support your shop. Yeah, there we go. Kenneth Dowling.
He agrees. He says Batman versus Spawn was fun. The story, I think, was better than what Miller did years back. I have the Lee and Fabok cover. Am I crazy if I say the Fabok cover is better? Love you, Wes, and everyone on the panel. Well, we love you too. And you're not crazy because Jason Fabok is one of the best artists in the world.
Yeah.
Kenneth, I got the Fabok cover is probably my favorite as well.
I got like 5 covers of it.
Yeah.
Like you said, support your local LCS. Like
Same.
I got
Absolutely.
the George Jimenez cover. I got all kinds of stuff, man. I got like 5.
Absolutely. I'm glad you liked it, brother.
I was gonna say, other than that, I had some of the Batman news team trying to tell me that I should pick up Danger Street, that it's not that bad. I am very much like,
if that's the best they can say, that's not a sell. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Plus, Tom King has a tendency to start strong and then just completely, shit the bed. So
absolutely, don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it.
All right, Doc. Your last and least, you made a fool of yourself today talking about the latest excuse for why you can't read manga because the names are gibberish, apparently. You recommended
that's one of a number of reasons, but you know what? I this one was hard for me to figure something out because I'm running out of old shit that I really, really want to recommend that isn't like 30 to 40 issues long. Like long runs. But you know what? I'll go with something a little different. Michael Turner's Soulfire, the original 10 issues. Turner did the first, it was issue 0 through 7 that Michael did, and then Joe Benitez finished the series off of Michael's kind of plot outline after Michael passed away. So yeah, I'm gonna recommend going and reading that. If you like fantasy-ish stuff, it's a chick with dragonfly wings fighting a fucking dragon with like some prince kid. It's actually pretty cool, and the art's fucking dope.
And you make fun of me for Lord of the Rings, and that's how you. That's what
Yeah, the only reason that I give a shit about this is because the art is really, really dope. That it is,
folks.
That it is. The art is really, really good. Other than that, you know what? Actually, I got one.
All right, Doc, we're wrapping her up.
Marvel
What's your
Comics
recommendation?
Marvel Comics presents the original run. Do the Weapon X storyline. So issue 72 through I think 84. I think 84 is where it ended. So yeah, go pick that up. The prices on those are going up a little bit, but it's still really good. And I think you can get it in a omnibus or a trade.
Perfect. I hope everyone is ready for the holiday season. We're ready for Christmas, and we will be here on Christmas Eve morning for everybody in America. If you're in Europe or Asia, we will be here Christmas Eve for you. We'll be talking about nerd stuff. I hope you joined us for that, and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next weekend.